Tell your grandma to say hello. It's the Kenny and Cairo Variety Show.
Welcome back to the show, the Kenny and Cairo Show. Of course, you have Kenny and Cairo, but today we have the excellent, the amazing, the incredible Sizzle, Eric Shen. Good space there, good space. I didn't put it together. So anyway, I got my man Eric here. His webcam is a little bit cropped, so you can't see it, but he has two giant cards behind him that, as far as I know, he won through skill and great determination. Am I correct? Pot of Greed and Democ?
Yeah, but you forgot luck. But yes.
No luck. No luck.
There's a bit of luck.
No luck. You do need luck to win, but you know, he's got my Cyndaquil back there. You got a nice little thing back there.
In the same spot multiple times. You've won at least 3-4 major tournaments. Like, sure, luck had a part to do with it, but you're just cracked at the game.
He's the man.
Yeah. I mean, I've been one-tricking this deck that we're going to talk about for my whole Edison career, and I just, luckily, in my opinion, ended up being the best deck.
That's right. Yeah, we are today doing a tier list for the individual cards in the VayuTurbo deck. We took cards from various lists, like the infamous Sizzle 41. We took OG 99's list that he won with. We took some Nitro Vayu list, and then some other random lists. So there's some cards here that are blocked by my head. So we have, like back here, we have like Cyber Dragon, Cold Wave, Shura. So we're going to talk about a bunch of these cards. You'll see. And yeah, let's just start off. What's the first card you guys want to talk about? Looking at this list, what's a solid like B or C card to start off with?
You know what? I'm going to let Eric start off and do the honors because it's VayuTurbo.
C or B is so hard to start with, I feel like.
Okay, fine. Then start with an F or an S. Or a D, F, or S.
I think, S would just be like, all right, let's just do the bombs. Like Dark Arm, Burial, Return, like those are all S tier.
Yup. Dark Arm, where's Burial? Burial, Return. Here we go, bang.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that like in early VayuTurbo lists, people did not play Return from a Different Dimension.
Dude, when I first started playing, I wasn't playing Return. Like people didn't think that shit was good because you couldn't revive the Blackwing synchros, so people were like, "This is dog water."
Yep, and like, it's just funny how the format has evolved because they weren't even just saying that about like VayuTurbo, but even when I was playing it in VayuHero, people were saying Return is a win more card. So I was just like, look at the Forbidden and Limited list. Monster Reborn is banned, and Return is Monster Reborn on crack. Like, how couldn't this card be good?
Yeah, it's even crazier in VayuHero because it's so easy to activate because it's like, as long as you can play the game at all, like one Greffer means like free level 8. I don't know, that's so ridiculous in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows why Dark Arm, Burial are broken in Vayu. Like you can manipulate your graveyard Dark Arm for all the time, and then Burial is like a +2, +3 sometimes. And it's a quick play, so you can even set it and do tricks. But Return, I'm not gonna lie, because when Matt Kalenda won, when you got second and Matt got first, he wasn't playing Return. And I won RB to Orlando shortly after, and I wasn't playing Return. And even so, after that, Return got popular, and still I was like, this card's ass. But people just didn't know, like myself included at the time, just didn't know how to play with the card. Like you have to set it preemptively because it just has to be live, and you just have to eat heavy if they have heavy. But if they don't, you essentially win the game. There's Sirocco combos. There's too many. That card's just fucking nuts.
So yeah, if you draw that card, you've won without Return. And if we talked about these cards, some time ago, you would have said Return's ass, but now it's definitively S tier, right? Like there's no conversation.
Oh, for sure. I actually think out of the three, it's the worst one because like it's a trap card, unfortunately. Yeah. And like you can just drop Dark Arm, Burial whenever. But yeah, if I draw these three, my whole game plan is just resolving these three cards.
And like just to talk about some of the tricks for like maybe some of the newer viewers or people who are newer to Edison format in general, right? Some tricks that you can do like with Return is like, with Necro Gardener, banishing is a cost. So you can go like banish Necro and then you can like chain Burial. That way you can essentially like get 2 vanishes out of it. And then there's like a lot of other neat tricks that you can do too, but like that's the first one that comes to mind. And even with Return, like ideally, one of the best plays that you want to do, Eric already mentioned, right? Sirocco combos. If you double Sirocco with Pump, just 2 Siroccos by themselves is already 6K, which is ridiculous. And if you have other Blackwing monsters, then it'll be easily over 8,000. And also, a very simple play that you can do is just go Return, and if your plague is banished, Black Rose. And if you Black Rose, all of your value material goes back into the grave, and then you can just do it again.
Yep, just do everything again. Yeah, I love it. They're great cards. Obviously, everybody knows Dad Burial is broken. You can use Burial in so many different ways to like restructure your graveyard to even summon Dad or to give Dad more ammo. It's fucked up.
Yeah, not to plug myself, but I uploaded a whole video on my channel about all the plays you can do with return. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So if you want to know more in detail about what you can do with return, please check out Sack Phase, Eric Sizzle, Eric Chen's channel.
Definitely. I mean, also, we can talk about just real quick. You said not to fuck yourself. I guess you meant like revealing info, but your list is revealed. It is the value, like it is the most copied list, I think, probably in the format, right? Like it is, like, I feel like in a lot of the other decks, there's a little bit more tweaking with changing cards, but I feel like the Sizzle 41 gets talked about. Like, this is the list, Sizzle 41, do that. Which is the reason why Gary doesn't play it. Gary's like, well, everybody plays Sizzle 41, so I gotta play something else. He still plays value, but he's like, he's got to mix it up.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just think that, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, which might seem kind of hypocritical from me because I don't play the Sizzle 41 when I play VayuTurbo. But I do think that it's proven time and time again. And not only has it been proven by Eric, by Sizzle, but it's been proven by other people too. I believe Mercenary, he also recently won, like with the Sizzle 41. And other people too. I can't name every single person that's won with it because there's been multiple people at this point. So there's nothing wrong with it. If like you don't know what to do, then just play the Sizzle 41.
Hell yeah. All right, well, unless there's something else you want to say about Dad Burial and Return, I want to throw in the card that we're value. Where would you put the card itself, the name of the deck?
I mean, I feel like you have to put it S, but like I'm gonna put it A because I don't like drawing the fucking card. If that makes sense.
That's fair. I think it's fair because the deck is constructed around the broken things Vayu can do. But that said, Vayu, I feel like, initiates the rest of your deck to do broken things, but you still don't want to draw Vayu. Like, you're sad if you draw that card.
Yeah, you kind of have to draw with Greffer because like a lot of people when they play Vayu first time going blind, like turn one, they'll just set Vayu. I'm like, well, you can't do that. You're just going to lose to a GB or Shura like off the bat. So you kind of have to draw Allure or Greffer with it, Rhoda. So yeah, it's kind of annoying, but I agree. I 100% agree with what you said. Like Vayu, the deck itself isn't like it. I mean, it is Vayu obviously, but it's more like dark, broken toolbox deck in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about. You guys mentioned Gardner already, so let's just throw Gardner in there.
Ooh. I mean, Gardner, honestly, so this is another card that also wasn't played in early VayuTurbo lists. Early VayuTurbo lists, they actually played Spirit Reaper instead. And part of the reason why they changed to Gardner is because, one, it's broken with Return and Burial. And then, two, it just kind of gave like a mix-up factor, and as well as Hamster, too, because actually early Vayu lists didn't play Hamster as well. Because a long time ago, when you played against VayuTurbo, you could just like attack, and if it was a set monster, you knew what it was. It was either Vayu or Raikou. But anyway, personally, and of course, I'd love to hear Eric's opinion on this. I think in the, confides of VayuTurbo, NecroGardna is an S.
Yeah, it's either like bottom of S or high A. Dude, I also didn't play this card when I first started playing, man. Like, dude, my first list was so trash. I can't believe I want that deck. That deck was so bad. I personally would put it A because like you can't tell me that card is as good as the other S tier cards, but it's like top of A or bottom of S. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
On the topic of Gardner, and we can continue talking about Gardner, but from a previous video, we talked about like these three cards kind of working together. So we can, if you want, we can talk about Greffer, Army Knight, and Gardner right now, because in the Diva Hero video, we kind of talked about how like these three cards together, they obviously have synergies and they implement all kinds of different things, etc. And how some people were only playing Greffer, some people were only playing Army Knight, etc.
Yeah, definitely in VayuTurbo, people have always played both Army Knight and Greffer. That's always been there since the early times. I mean, those are some of the best starters of the deck, right? Like, and just like Eric already explained, like, the only reason why like cards like Necro and Vayu aren't as good is because you need to essentially pull it with like a Rhoda or a Greffer, right? So, I mean, once again, I'm here to listen to the man himself.
No, that's
my
so
humble opinion, right?
It's
My humble
so
opinion
hard.
is like those
Like-
two cards are just like they're the best starters. I mean, I think that they're both S, but like maybe I'm just too generous and I just give everything an S label. But what do you think?
No, I actually will put these two at S. So one thing that isn't talked about enough in VayuTurbo is in almost every single Edison format deck you can think of, almost every card is classified as a starter or like power play later. Grepher and Armonite are two of the only cards that can be a starter, an extender, and a power play. Like I was trying to think of other cards that are like that. There's really not. So I think that's one reason why Vayu is so freaking consistent, is that those two cards, 4 copies that you play right there.
Yeah, that's really strong when you think about it. Like it's really good in your opening hand to like get your stuff going, and then as an extender, you can't really ask for much more than a fucking Dark Grepher. Like they do what you talk about. Some of the things they can do. Talk about some of the plays a little bit.
Yeah. And while you talk about the plays, so I have a 2-parter. So 1, talk about the things that you can do, and 2, I'm curious about your opinion on triple Grepher, right? Because I know that you side the third one for like combo matchups and things like that, but you and I, we have slightly different takes on VayuTurbo, and I personally main 3 Greffers because for the reasons that I'm sure you're about to state, but also as you already stated, like it fulfills 3 roles. And I just think there's never a time I don't want to draw Grepher. And like, of course, Grepher isn't the best feeling, but it still can get your deck going. And most of the time you're going to pitch one of like the 10 cards that you can pitch, right? One of like the 3 Vayus, Siroko's, Necro, Plague, etc. So what are your thoughts on triple Grepher, as well as what are the things that they can do?
So they can be a starter, right? Grepher, pitch, send Necro to set up so you can pitch again. Arma, send Necro, sack for Caius. Middle of the game, Arma just, dump Vayu is broken as hell, that's like 4k damage randomly from 1 card. Grepher, pitch all your dead cards. So Grepher pitching like all the deck cards that you said, Vayu, Sirocco, Necro, Plague. So, but one reason that I don't like triple Grepher in the main deck, there's a few reasons. Like, obviously it can be good, right? Like if you played triple Grepher and made Sizzle 42, like it'd probably do just as well, probably. But the thing is, if you go first, this deck has like an insane amount of starters. Like I'm not trying to draw double Grepher going first. Like you have 2 Hamster, 3 Raikou, 1 charge before I'm summoning Grepher. If I have 2 Grepher in my hand, I better have 2 pieces, and that doesn't happen that often. And then like I just said, like Grepher pitch Necro, right? So you can pitch another piece next turn. So you're telling me you want 3 pieces in your hand, like, and you have Rhoda. So are you trying to play 4 Grepher? Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
It can totally come up. 3rd Grepher has come for me, but like I've played every like Vayu card out there, and I've never, not never, but the 3rd Grepher tested more negatively than positively versus another potential card it could have been. Especially going first, was like that's some of the reason why the 2nd Hamster's in there, because Hamster's like just the best starter for sure.
Yeah, that's something we talked about, how like making your deck stronger going first and going second, and how you have to balance that, because at the end of the day, 50% of the time you're going to go second, and everybody likes going first. What are the situations that you side in the 3rd Grepher, if you even want to talk? But like, so you talked about some of the negatives of having 3rd Grepher. Obviously, 3rd Grepher, it's a bomb card, so having it in general, having 3 of it's good. But you talk about some of the negatives of having 3. So in what situations would you even want to side in the 3rd one?
Yeah, so when you side out the Hamsters first, like when you go second versus a lot of matchups, or like decks like Combo where you just want to rush their ass down, you're siding out Hamsters. So 1, you have less normal summons, and so like the 3rd Grepher is actually more summonable, more live, if that makes sense, because you don't have the Hamsters, and then you just want to rush their ass down. So you just want to see Grepher. Yeah. Like, so I think and you're going to go second, so Grepher's better than Hamster going second. So yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you say that, right? Because this is the first time that I've had a chance to talk to you about VayuTurbo. And like, I'm not sure if you've seen my list or not, right? They're not as relevant as yours.
No, I've seen all the lists.
But my list, actually, I play 1 Hamster triple Grepher. So it's funny that you say that you would side out the 2nd Hamster and put in a 3rd Grepher, because that's my main deck right there. And it's actually for the exact same reason that you stated. It's just like, you only have so many normal summons, right? I typically, of course, I think a good player has to know when you should be passive, when you should be aggressive, etc. I don't think there's such thing as an aggressive player or a passive player, right? A good player knows when to perform both roles. But typically, right, I would say, like, if I had to classify myself, I'm an aggressive player, and I don't like setting cards, right? But setting cards in VayuTurbo is extremely broken, right? But if I can choose to, yeah, exactly, right? It's really, really broken in VayuTurbo. But if I can choose to, like, summon a card, then I would prefer that. So I think that's why triple Grepher works out for me. But I agree with everything that you said, because, like, I mean, the second hamster's so broken. You only have so many normal summons. Like, yeah. Yep. All right, let's move on. Let's go to another card.
Before we move on, I just want to say, obviously, this card's a bit more linear than Grepher, but with Army Knight sitting right next to him, is there any, like, certain words you want to give for Army Knight? Because I do feel like Grepher has a bit more versatility to him, but what do you got for Army?
He's like, he's kind of like the Swiss butter knife that comes in, I feel like, because I don't want, like, he's so non-committal, and he applies so much pressure by himself. Dude, like, there's like so many times, right? Like, I'll set Hamster Raiko turn 1, they run some stupid guy into it, and they'll have an open board or like one back row. You summon Armageddon Knight there, put the piece you need, attack for 1400, they're like, dude, why is this so much pressure? Like, you send Necrogarna with Armageddon Knight there, they're like, dude, what am I supposed to do? Like, summon Shura, attack, get Necrogarna, get Kai's, like why is that so broken, right? It's like so it seems so like simple, but I don't know. And the other thing is, we didn't put Foolish Burial on this list, which is kind of a controversial card, but like
I'll add it in a little bit.
Our Armageddon Knight is just better. Like, the body matters so much, and sending Plague, being an Insta 6 is so pivotal. And while we're talking about this, probably should add Rhoda Test here, because it's essentially just better than those two cards, because it's both of them at the same time.
Wait, Rhoda?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I was gonna say, just might as well add it up there, because it's just better than both of them.
Oh, you mean S tier? Yeah. Because Rhoda is both of those cards.
Exactly.
Rhoda is those cards.
Yeah. Armageddon Knight's unfortunately deck devable though, so it feels bad.
Yeah, but I mean, what you just stated is, I've had a lot of games where the 1400 just applies so much pressure.
Right?
And 1400 is perfect attack line. Even though it gets deck devied, it doesn't get hit by bottomless, right? Not every deck can support deck devy, but most decks, almost every deck in the format, with the exception of like Frogs, can support bottomless, right? So, and people don't want to waste their cards on an Armageddon Knight. You don't want to Mirror Force on Armageddon Knight. You don't want to Torrential on Armageddon Knight. You don't want to Deep Prison on Armageddon Knight. You want to just attack over it. But it's not always that easy, because 1, you could set Necro, and then 2, you can just have traps of your own, right? So it's just like, Army being 14, I think, is just so good. And, for the guy who doesn't get hit by deck devy, that's what Grepher is for. I mean, I just think VayuTurbo, just the way it's built, its engine, it just has everything that it needs.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great using a trap on Armageddon Knight, because summoning him, kind of like summoning Stratos, like, he's already a +1. Like, it didn't go to your hand, but like what he did was a +1. And because of his low stat line, and because Vayu can create like bigger damage like really fast, it feels bad to Deep Prison Armageddon Knight when you know next turn some bigger body is about to come down and fuck your day up.
Please Deep Prison, and let me draw return. Please. Please.
So, unless there's anything else you want to say about any of these cards we have up here, Rhoda, Rhoda just gets the great. Is there any other warriors that we play?
Yeah.
No.
There's another warrior that it gets. It gets Necrogarna, which can be beneficial from time to time, right? Because you can use it to like go Rhoda Necro, then you can go like Grepher pitch Necro in certain situations.
Yep.
But aside from Armageddon Knight, I mean not Armageddon Knight, Necrogarna, there's not another warrior.
I'll bring up, I guess, a contra. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. One last thing, because I was going to say this earlier, but I got lost in the sauce. A lot of people play VayuTurbo, like, for its namesake Turbo, and think Grepher is the tits, because they always want to go Turbo. But this deck really should be called Vayu Control, because I am trying to +1 every single turn. And even there are a lot of times I will have Grepher in a piece in hand, but I want to set up first. And, like, that makes sense. Like, I'm not always trying to go Unga Bunga, blow my hand, and hope for the best. Like,
it's what's funny. It's funny that you say that, because I kind of agree. And with VayuTurbo and like its sister deck, which is, Nitro Vayu, which I have the Nitro Vayu pieces in here as well. I feel like that deck as well is still trying to control the game. Like the draw traps, and then especially Icarus attack. Like that's not a turbo card, but that Icarus attack adds a lot of different dynamics to the deck, and it makes the Vayu engine overall scarier now that version of the list exists, because it is now harder for your opponent to know what they're facing when they see Vayu. It's like, what version of this deck am I playing against, and how do I prepare for it? Speaking of controversial,
I mean, I think a good example, right?
Go ahead.
It's like Starlight Road, I think is terrible against VayuTurbo, but if you're going against Nitro Vayu, then like a Starlight Road might come in handy.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk a little bit more about the Nitro cards, but I want to talk about a card. I looked at a bunch of Vayu lists. Most of them were very similar to Sizzle's list. There were some slight differences, but one I saw in Televisual was he played Lila. I don't remember what tournament it was, but I saw Televisual playing VayuTurbo, and I think he got a high placement, which is why I saw his deck, and Lila was in it. And his was the only list I recall seeing Lila in, so I'm curious of your opinions on Lila.
I'm so happy to talk about Lila. So actually, within the modern Edison format, I was one of the first people to like really advocate for Lila. And actually I got third place with Lila at Anaheim, and Televisual is actually one of my best friends in real life, and so is Gary, right? And then shortly afterwards, both Televisual and Gary, OG99 as you guys might know him, they entered in a tournament with both Lila and Shora, because I got third place and they're my best friends, right? So I was telling them that I think those cards are really good. And then they both did well with them. And then after doing well with them, they chose not to use it anymore, right? Which is completely fine. Right?
They were like, fuck this card. We did great.
Yeah.
Now fuck this card. To what you were saying, your boys, they used Lila, they did great, and then they stopped using it.
Yeah, same with Shora. They tested out both Lila and Shora. Then they both proceeded to top events using those cards, and then they ultimately decided not to use them going forward, right? So, I mean, my thoughts on Lila is this. Do I think Lila is better than Raikou? It depends. Because Raikou Raikou is a turn too slow sometimes, all right? Like, you have to set Raikou in order to destroy the card that you want. Whereas Lila, you can destroy the card immediately. And then a lot of people, when I first was advocating for Lila, they said that she's just a bottomless target, right? And I'm just like, okay, if Lila gets bottomless, that means Armwing's not getting bottomless. That means Dark Arm's not getting bottomless. That means I can bring her back for return. Like, if Lila gets bottomless, that's a good thing. Also, Lila has this advantage where she can continuously mill. Raikou's only going to mill one time. That's it. Unless you're playing Book of Moon, which most VayuTurbo lists don't play. After that, Raikou has used this effect. But Lila, each end phase will mill 3 as long as she's face up on the field. Which means, like, if you don't mill a piece the first time, you might mill a piece the second time. Also, Lila has an attack of 17. So that means that she can actually exert more pressure in some scenarios than Raikou, because 200 versus 17 is night and day. And Lila also doesn't get hit by Deck Dev, which is a big weakness of VayuTurbo. And lastly, Lila also gives Charge of the Light Brigade more versatility, because you don't always have to go charge for Raikou. You can also go charge for Lila. And if you go summon Lila switch and you have like a plague in your graveyard, Lila also gives you the option to go into a level 6. Whereas like with Raikou, you can't do that. Now, all of that said, that's why I said Lila is only sometimes better than Raikou, because Lila can indeed get bottomless. And although that can be a positive, it can also be a negative, because sometimes you really might need to mill. And also, Lila can only destroy spells or traps and monsters with an attack under 17. So against like a Gores, Lila is terrible, right? You're going to really wish that you had a Raikou. But aside from basically very few scenarios, in most cases, Lila is very good. Now, I think that VayuTurbo is more complete by having both of those cards, because it just gives your decks more options. And I think like that's part of what makes VayuTurbo so good. And Eric even said like it's kind of like, I mean, he was referring to Armageddon Knight when he said Swiss Army Knight, but the deck itself, it has options for every situation because it's just built that way. And I think Lila only adds to that. Now, the thing is, people only really respect the opinions of players who have topped and who have won. And even though I've topped multiple times with this deck, the thing is I never won a tournament, right, with the deck. So it's obviously they're going to listen to the people that does well. And even I said before, and I agree with this, I think the Sizzle one is amazing. I think it's really good. So it's like, why play Lila if you already have this build that's doing well? But just because you have a build that's doing well, I also don't think that means it's optimized 100%. Because when we look at Matt Kalinda's deck, and we've already talked about that, right? He wasn't playing Return, right? But now over time, we can see that Return was correct. So the thing about being a top player is that, like, one, a lot of people will listen to you because you're a top player. And then two, sometimes because, you know, and this happens to myself as well with VayuTurbo, we can't see when a suggestion that was made could be potentially better for the deck. And the example that I give is Armageddon Knight. I never said Armageddon Knight was like a bad card in VayuTurbo, but I didn't play it. I only played Dark Grepher. And then over time, I began to realize that, oh, this card actually just belongs in VayuTurbo. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why, because I explained before in previous videos. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I really strongly think that Lila deserves a spot in VayuTurbo because of all the positives that she brings to the deck. But at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want and what they feel is best. But anyway, we can hear the man's opinion because that's who we came to listen to, right? We didn't listen to me ramble.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said. Like, no, I mean, I 100% agree with everything. Everything you said was like facts. The biggest problem with Lila is it just doesn't. There's too many cards to play in VayuTurbo to fit Lila, unfortunately, in my opinion. I've tried Lila. Like you said, you can run away with the game. Like, if you open Lila Bottomless, Lila Deep Prison, you could, Bottomless Deep Prison a target. They can't set a card. Now you're just free to mill next turn again and apply more pressure, right? The thing is, Raiko kills monsters, which is not a big problem, but it is sometimes really hard to get over anything with more than 2300 in VayuTurbo. And Raiko is a standalone good card. Whereas Lila, if I summon Lila, like you said, if it gets bottomless, for example, you need another card to extend. Or if you open Lila, you need bottomless Deep Prison, or else that thing's just getting ran over and it didn't do anything. So it doesn't make the cut for me. The one thing about VayuTurbo I really like is essentially every card, except like the Vayu pieces or like Necro Plague, whatever. And even those can be really good if you draw them with Grepher, obviously. Every card in Vayu is good by itself. Like, you can pick almost any Vayu card, slap it in any deck, and it's probably a good card. And Vayu just gets to play all of them, and conveniently, they're just the best cards in Vayu. Like, Return you can play in a lot of decks, right? But Vayu might be... it's probably not the best Return deck, because I think VayuTurbo and like Zombies is better, but Return's like up there for sure for Vayu. But like, it's the best Braille deck, it's the best Darkroom deck, it's the best Grepher deck. Like, deck's fucking crazy, Like, you can just play all these cards. And Lila, I don't think really helps with that. And yeah, there's just too many cards.
Cairo.
No, we're not debating. I agree, Lila's good. I just can't fit it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've already said my piece on Lila, and then Eric said his piece on Lila, and now at this point, it's up to the listeners to choose whether they want to play it or not. But the thing is, it's just like, I personally believe it belongs in a deck, and if I play against someone and they're not playing it, for me, it's just like, well, that's one less card I have to worry.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
There is actually a lot. So, like, yeah, Lila is more toolboxy, right? Because of charge and whatnot, and like, you could do cool shit you can't normally do. But the matchups Lila is actually good against is Vayu Mirror, and that's like it. Black Wings, Lila sucks. GBs, Lila sucks. Frogs, Lila's It's like, I don't want this card in a lot of matchups, unfortunately.
Yeah, so maybe it's a side that who knows. But real quick, and then Cairo, you can say what you're going to say anyway. But where do you guys think we're going to end up putting this in the tier list? Because part of the point of this is that these are the cards that you could see in a Vayu list. And if you are building Vayu and you're learning more about the format, you can look at this list and be like, oh, Lila is in this tier and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I can fit it into the deck for these reasons that Cairo and Sizzle said. So where do you guys think it gets tiered? And then some of your final thoughts on the card.
Well, for once, I'm not going to say S. All right. I definitely don't think it belongs in S tier, or else everyone would be playing it. And I know that Sizzle also will not give this an S either. Right. But for me personally, and that means it'll probably get tiered one tier lower than what, I say. But I think Lila is up there with A. Like, I think Lila is as good as Necro and Vayu and all those other cards. But what do you think, Sizzle? Well, at the end of the day, whether he puts it C, D, F, whatever, A, B, that's where we'll put it.
I think it's C. Like, you could play it and it'd be okay, but I just don't think it's optimal.
Okay.
So we have an A and a C. Do we just give Sizzle? Do we give Sizzle the advantage and say C, or do we cut the middle?
Just put it B. Put it B.
All right, fine, B. Cool.
We'll put Lila in B, but you at home can decide if you think it's C or A.
Dude, there's no way Lila's as good as Necrocarna. There's no way.
Well, we'll add more cards, and maybe if we talk about it later, and if it's like, you know what, Lila goes down the C, then. But for right now, we'll cut the middle, say B.
All right, let's move on to Shura, because that's another card that.
That's why I brought him up.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about
so
Lila,
I'll say my piece about Shura first. So this is another card that, once again, I popularized in VayuTurbo. I don't think anyone was playing Shura in VayuTurbo, at least that I know of, right? I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone was playing it before me. And my reason for playing it was because when I was testing VayuTurbo, and I want to preface this by saying I have not tested VayuTurbo as much as Eric has, not at all. The deck that I've tested the most has been VayuHero, right? But I have tested VayuTurbo a fair amount. But anyway, when I was testing VayuTurbo, I was like, Vayu has all of these synchros, but like no way to really like summon them, if that makes sense. Because the only tuners that you have really are just Gale and Plague. It's very rare that you can use Vayu outside of using Vayu's effect. And I was like, if VayuTurbo can find a way to utilize these Vayus, then I can make other synchros or make my synchros live. Like, for example, bring out a real Armor Master or bring out a real Armwing instead of bring out like a fake one. And by fake, I mean without an effect, right? Because when you bring the synchros out through VayuTurbo's effect, through Vayu's effect, it doesn't have an effect. It's just a vanilla monster. But anyway, so I was like, okay, so what's the best way that I can utilize this? And I was like, oh, Shura. Now, Shura has its advantages and disadvantages. So the disadvantages first, once again, it's another normal summon. It can be bottomless. And this is not Black Wings. And the reason why that's important is because Black Wings, they're very good at setting up Shura to have a successful attack go through. Because they play Black Whirlwind, so the odds of you opening up like Shura Gale are much higher because of Whirlwind. You can just search it out. And not only do they play Whirlwind, but they also play Icarus Attack. Icarus Attack clears back rows, so it makes it easier for the Shura to get summoned and the attack to go through. And lastly, they also play Colute, right? And Shura Colute, that's a combo that we're very afraid of, and it just makes resolving a Shura's attack that much easier. But in VayuTurbo doesn't really play any of those cards that I just mentioned, with the exception of, in some builds, Icarus Attack, right? The Nitro Vayu deck brought Icarus Attack into the limelight. I also want to say, in my build of VayuTurbo, I also was playing Icarus Attack, right? So you can see my build of VayuTurbo is very different than the traditional build, because a lot of cards that aren't played, I played, like Cold Wave, Lila, Icarus, Shura, etc. But anyway, so it's very hard to get an attack off of Shura. So these are all the cons. But the pro is, if you do manage to get an attack off of Shura and you can summon Gale or Vayu, you're going to be at such an advantage that it'll nearly be hard to lose that game, right? And I've spoken about this play many times, but like Shura Gale, I think is one of the best combos in Edison, because you just go Shura, you run over the monster, and then like you bring out a Vayu, you synchro with the Gale that's on the field, you can make Armor Master, and then now your Vayu's effect's negated, so you can make a level 8 synchro, which in most cases will probably be Stardust, but it depends on the matchup. And now in your grave, you have Silverwind access, because you have Armor Master and a Vayu in the grave. So all this just from 2 cards, right? Not only that, but you can also easily go into Black Rose. Sometimes your opponent just has an absolute broken field, and then like you can just go Shura Gale into Black Rose, right? So, and because I played Icarus Attack, it made Icarus Attack more viable, right? Because you do have enough Black Wings with just the standard ones that are in VayuTurbo, but it just makes it a little bit more consistent by adding that extra Black Wing, right? So those are kind of like the pros and cons of Shura. Now, the thing is about Shura is I don't stand on a hill as hard as Shura as I do Lila. Like, if people say that, like, hey, I tested Shura and it didn't work, well, one, I'm sure you didn't test it the correct way. And when I say correct way, I mean including the other cards that I added in support with it. Because this is what happens, right? like a lot of people, when they saw my list that I got third place with, they just pick and chose certain cards instead of playing the deck as a whole. And they're like, oh, this doesn't work. Like, for example, they're like, oh, I tried Shura. Well, did you try it with Cold Wave and Icarus Attack too? No. Well, I mean, that's why my Shura was able to resolve, because I Cold Wave first. Well, you know what I mean? Or because I Icarus Attack and I was able to like clear some things. And like Shura was less dead because even if I just had Shura Icarus Attack, I can clear out 2 cards on your opponent, on my opponent's side of the field. So it's just like they just pick and chose certain cards without truly realizing like why I chose those cards. Everything came together as a package, right? And another thing was like Armory Arm. Now, Armory Arm I think is an amazing card in VayuTurbo, and we don't have synchros in this list, but my VayuTurbo list didn't play Armory Arm. And the reason why I didn't play Armory Arm is because now that I have Shura, if Shura attacks goes through, most likely I'm going to be getting a Vayu. And I don't want to go into Catastor, right? And I would rather go into Magical Android because 1, it's 24, it's a good base stat line, and 2, it's a light. And I was playing Chaos Sorcerer, right? And I wasn't playing the second hamster. I mean, I wasn't playing any hamsters at the time, actually. So it's just like everything worked out in the way that's just like, okay, I don't have hamster, but I have an option to go into Magical Android to give me that light for Chaos Sorcerer. So it's just like everything was built in a way that like if you take away one piece, then the deck kind of like falls apart. But anyway, getting back to Shura, I don't stand on as high of a hill as I do like Lila. I do think Shura is a good card. And recently, Nicholas97, he won RBET Berlin. And he won RBET Berlin with VayuTurbo, right? And he's known to be a Blackwing player, actually, but he won with VayuTurbo. And in his VayuTurbo list, he played Shura. He played Icarus. I can't remember if he played Lila or not. I don't think so, because I think if he played it, I would remember it. But I know for a fact that he played Shura and Icarus, and these are the cards that I played. And it's just like, it just once again goes to show that like, I think that VayuTurbo can be built in many different ways and still succeed. I don't think Shura is the 100% most optimal card to play, but I do think it's a good card and it can add a lot of versatility to the deck. So I think actually Lila and Shura, they belong in the same tier. So if we're going to give like Lila B, then I would also put Shura in B. But I mean, I gave a very long-winded, hopefully detailed explanation, but let's hear what Eric has to say.
I think Niklas actually played 2 Icarus attacks, but Shura was actually one of the first cards I tried a long time ago, because I used to play a deck called DBZ, Destiny, Hero, Blackwing, Zombie, and they played one Shura. This was like in 2009. But
DBZ,
yeah, so I tried Shura.
Destiny? I love that. Hold up. Man.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Shout out to Dale Bolito. He made that deck, and I was like such a fanboy at the time. But I tried Shura, and like you said, it's like really situationally good. I even tried it with Book of Moon back in the day to make it even more live, but yeah, it just does. Like you draw that card and you're like, this card is not resolving. Like, I mean, sometimes it does, right? And you're like, wow, this card's broken, but like so often it's not resolving, and you need so much setup for that card. But yeah, I mean, I never tried it with Icarus though. To be fair, I only tried it with Book. I tried for like a week. I was like, this card's just like, okay. I mean, I feel like I've been saying this for a while, but dude, Vayu gets to play the most broken cards in the game, and Shura just does not make that cut, unfortunately. Yeah, in my head.
Because when you're looking at Vayu, Sizzle, you're looking at the fact that you have so many cards, like you said, that they're just good cards anyway, and they just happen to also synergize together in this deck to like make bombs. And
yeah,
something like Shura or Lila might need additional support from your perspective, and this deck kind of runs off the fact that most of the cards don't necessarily need additional support. They're just broken and then also support each other in happenstance.
Yeah, I could not have said it better.
Yeah, and that's why I stand more on a hill for Lila than Shura, because I do think Lila can support herself, whereas Shura, 100% Shura needs support. The odds of like you resolving Shura effect, even I admit it, are much, much, much lower than compared to a deck like Blackwings, because that deck was built around Shura, basically, right? Whereas VayuTurbo, it's not. If you can resolve it, good things can happen, but it's very difficult. And that's why, like, when I played it, depending on the matchup, it would get sided out. And then the sad part is, like, Eric was listing all the matchups that Lila is bad in, and even though I might disagree, I think Shura is actually bad against all those matchups. Like, for example, the mirror match, Shura is not good. because what is Shura going to run over? Like, you can say, oh, he'll run over Greffer, but it's like, that's easier said than done because of traps. Even if they go first turn summon Army Knight, they'll likely send like a Necrogardna, and then like Shura can become a liability in both the Vayu and Blackwing matchup because of cards like Sirocco and Kalut. So it's like, even if they have a weaker monster in the Blackwing matchup, you attack and then you'll get Kaluted. You're not Kalut. That card's going to be gone. And against Frogs, most Frogs have a defense of 2,000, right? They're not just going to set Treeborn, right? Unless they have like Water Art, especially these days in 2025, 2026. So it's like, in the big three, I think Shura is terrible. But where Shura shines is actually against Rogue matchups. And this is the thing, is like, although we prepare our matchups for the big three, in a tournament, you're not going to be playing all Blackwing, all Frogs, and all VayuTurbo. You're going to be playing some guy who wants to play like Quick Draw Dandy, or some guy who wants to play like, any particular Rogue deck you can think of. And Shura is really, really good against Rogue decks because Rogue decks often play monsters that Shura can beat over. So, and even Lightsworn, which I don't know, is debatable if you want to call it a Rogue deck or not, but Shura is actually quite good against Lightsworns despite the fact that they play double Honest, because a lot of times like they actually just don't have the Honest. And aside from like Jane and like Garroth, and Wolf, right? A lot of their monsters, and Arcus in defense, can get ran over by Shura. So Shura is like quite good into Rogue matchups, but into the meta, he's not the best.
So what are we thinking? It sounds like, based on all of this talk, it doesn't sound like he's higher than C. What do you guys say?
I think he's D.
D.
But I know Cairo will feel differently. Dude, like, like just like how Cairo thinks every card in VayuHero is S. Like in my head, like I only want to shove the best cards in the game in VayuTurbo.
Yeah.
Shura is not even close.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna be super fanboying for Shura here. Though like other people have had success with him. If Eric thinks D and I think B, I'm okay in the middle of C if we can handshake on C.
Yeah.
All right, we'll handshake on C for now. But you guys have heard. One says D, the other one says. Just know that Lila and Shura right now, these are handshake agreements for these tiers. These are handshakes. One person wants high, the other one wants low. Speaking of Shura and it needing support, you mentioned Cold Wave and like it trying to get attacks off. I think this would be a good opportunity to just like, because I don't feel like these will take too long to talk about, but quickly talk about some spell trap removal like MST, Dust Tornado, Heavy, and even Cold Wave. Where is it? If you want to like briefly talk about these four cards, where you think they should go, and what you think about them, where they should be placed in the deck and in the tier, etc.
I'll let Eric take over for this one, and I'll throw my thoughts in about Cold Wave at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. Like Heavy is like as good as in Vayu, like as in like every other deck. I don't really know where you would put Heavy in like every deck, like S or A, I guess. Like every deck's playing it. MST's probably actually only A in this deck. Like in Blackwing, I'd put this in S because like you need your normal summon to resolve. You can do so much shit. Like you're holding MST in Blackwing. But in Vayu, for example, because we have so much spell and trap removal with Raikou, like I set this card a lot because I'm like, I don't want to get decked heavy, I don't get dust shooted, I don't get few-fewed. So I actually have the liberty to do that. But I don't think it's as good compared to other decks. Yeah, I'd put that in A, and then Dust is like, I don't know. I mean, I side triple Dust for certain matchups, but I'm never really trying to main Dust. Like for the main deck, it's probably like C, I guess. And then Cold Wave. All right. I know Cairo will have a long-winded argument for this one, so I'll let him speak. But my only thing about Cold Wave is almost every argument Cairo says, he will have an extra card that is broken already with Cold Wave to say it's good. I've only heard, oh, Cold Wave's good with Dad. Cold Wave's good with like Return. Cold Wave's good with Bro. Like no shit. Like all those cards are good already. Like why do I need Cold Wave? Like
Cairo's gone. What happened to Cairo?
No, I don't know what happened. Where's my camera? Bro, I didn't even turn off my camera. I don't know what's happening. Why did my camera turn off? All right, it's back.
It's well,
like, I don't know what that was about.
It's back, but your face is frozen. You're not moving. Oh, hold on. Wait, you might be coming back.
Yeah.
Damn. Sizzle shot his shot at Cairo, and Cairo left, bro. He was out of here.
Listen, it was so intense that like my camera couldn't handle it.
Yeah. What Sizzle's telling you though is like you're gonna say Cold Wave is good, but you're gonna talk about broken cards already. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'll just keep it brief. Heavy Storm, completely agree. It's as good as it is in every other deck. MST, I also agree. A. And in my VayuTurbo list, I did not main deck MST. And everybody was shocked when I topped and I didn't main deck MST. And they're like, why didn't you main deck MST? For the same reasons that Eric just mentioned. VayuTurbo has so much spell and trap removal, you don't really need MST. The only matchup that I want to see MST in really is Black Wings because of Whirlwind. Aside from that, like every other matchup, like you can play without it. It's an amazing card, but the problem with MST is it's a fair card. It's 1-for-1 unless your MST gets destroyed and then you chain it. You can potentially get a plus. But in most cases, it's going to just be a 1-for-1. So, I mean, I agree. Hey,
Yeah.
I mean,
really
Dust Tornado, it's a trap.
As a quick just butt in, I really like what Eric said, and it's one of my favorite things about these videos specifically, that MST is an S tier card in Black Wings, but not so. It's, A tier in Vayu. And it really just goes to show how the different composition of a deck can really affect its tiering. For example, Dad's always S. That doesn't really matter. But someone like Shura, who's heavily debated in this deck, who is, potentially a B tier or a D tier card, depending on who you talk to. In Black Wings, obviously, the conversation around Shura is completely different because the composition of the deck is much different and the goal of the deck is much different. So I just wanted to point out I really liked, MST, I think, is a card that a lot of people might see as a staple. Oh, you just play MST because it's MST. But the composition of the deck and the deck's goal does heavily affect how good that card is in that deck. I just wanted to throw that in there, but you can continue.
No, I agree. Dust Tornado, main deck. I mean, I think C is fine. I mean, if you're going to play Dust Tornado, just play MST instead. And lastly, Cold Wave. So the thing about Cold Wave is, yes, it's good with all the broken cards, Burial, Dark Arm, even Return, right? However, Cold Wave is also just good because in a way, it can prevent your opponent from cracking back, depending on what deck that they're playing, okay? So for example, let's talk about any combo deck. If you Cold Wave them, they're out the game.
Yep.
They can't crack back, okay? I think that Cold Wave is very good in decks that play a high monster count. So decks such as Lightsworns, decks such as VayuTurbo, these decks I think can really get full utilization out of Cold Wave. And then you don't have to worry about brain control. Brain control is one of the cards that most people are scared about when they pass to their opponent. Oh, I hope they don't have the brain control to take my monster. Completely shuts that down. And also the fact that VayuTurbo can make Briotic easily. Briotic and Cold Wave is a combo because you can just return their cards and then set them back kind of like 2 turns, right? Depending on how it's played and the different plays that you make, things like that. But overall, I don't think Cold Wave, I'm not gonna die on the hill for this card either. And I'm gonna say you have to play Cold Wave and VayuTurbo. And actually, in my more recent list, I've actually shifted out Cold Wave for MST because Black Wings picked up in popularity, right? So I think it's really kind of observing the meta because back in Anaheim, of course, Black Wings, it's funny that Black Wings won that event, but even though Black Wings did win Anaheim, at that time, they were not as popular as they are now. So it's just in a Black Wing focused meta, I don't want to see Cold Wave, right? I want to see MST. But if the meta is more focused toward other decks, even Hero Frogs, right? Yep. Hero Frogs, their comeback is Miracle Fusion. You shut that off. So I just think that Cold Wave is a very, very good card when used properly. But I mean, you have to know how to use the card. And if you don't use it correctly, then yes, you'll go -1, right? But overall, where would I put it? I'm not going to put it in S. I'm not going to even put it in A. I think Cold Wave is a B tier card, but we'll leave it to Eric. See. And you know what?
We
don't even have to handshake on this. No, we don't even have to handshake. We'll just give him the supreme authority.
Don't feel bad for him, Eric. Talk your shit.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, Cold Wave is a broken card, right? The card is at 1, the card is broken inherently. But I can't draw Cold Wave in my opening hand and be like, fuck yeah. That's not happening ever. Any of the other cards in A or S, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, this is good. But the fact that you have to, like Cairo said, it's cool that it can stop the crackback, right? But that means you had a good, crack at them already, if that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's an extra card that it could have been, I don't know where you're taking out for Cold Wave, but even, it could have been, Book of Moon, and you can get Brain, I don't know. But, it's I don't know. I am never maining Cold Wave. Like I side it potentially like a combo meta or like a frog meta or something like that. But like I'm never maining this card. I'm probably putting it at D.
Woo! Well, no handshake. Cairo
We'll leave
said
it there.
Cairo said no handshake. Cold Wave's a D. You've
It's
heard
just,
that.
like, it's just like what's your follow up? It's just like what's your like you're gonna Cold Wave and then if you don't have one of the big 3 bombs, like I don't know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about Cold Wave is that sometimes in VayuTurbo you might unfortunately mill your Heavy Storm, and players when they see Heavy Stormers milled, they tend to just set everything, right? Even though if Heavy Storm's out the game, that doesn't mean that all spell and trap removals out, because most decks have access to Black Rose. But of course, pulling off a Black Rose is not easy, right?
Yeah. People feel way more comfortable when they see Heavy's going.
Exactly. So when my Heavy Storm is milled because of a Lila or a Raikou or a Charge or whatever have you, and then I go Cold Wave, they're just like, what happened, right? Yeah. And then this is going back to, like I said, how my deck was built piece by piece. So it's like I've had games where it's like I milled Heavy Storm, my opponent goes like set 3, set 4, and I go Cold Wave Black Rose with like Short Gale. And they're just like, wow. And I'm like, yep. So, but of course, that is a very rare situation because they're all one-ofs. Cold Wave's a one-of, Gale's a one-of, Shore's a one-of, right? They're all one-ofs. But I mean, it can happen. But I'm completely okay with putting Cold Wave at D. I gave my opinion, but let's move on. Let's go into the other cards.
Eric, is there any card that you see here? And then even if there's a card that we already tiered that you remembered something you want to say about, was there any card that we haven't tiered yet that you really have something you want to talk about it? Anything you want to say about it?
Oh, we can talk about Solemn because everyone hates me for this.
Ooh.
Because I don't main Solemn in Sizzle 41. Solemn is fucking broken. Like, I'm not going to deny that at all. It's in my side deck. And I really, really want to fit it in my main deck. It's just I don't think it's good against bird decks. People talk about, like, I don't think anyone is arguing that Solemn is good against Vayu. I mean, some people do because you can stop the bombs, but I never want to open Solemn against VayuTurbo. You can't set it or else it's going to get Raiko'd. You can't stop like armed wing synchros. So it's not as good against Vayu. And then against Blackwing, people be like, you can stop a normal summon, which I agree is totally fucking good. But going second, you're probably not doing that.
You want to spend 4K to stop that normal summon though?
You do because the deck like it's a turn skip. But going second is a lot harder because Blackwing is all about life, and
that's what's scary about it.
And a lot of people talk about how like, oh, in Blackwing you can 2-for-1 Icarus, but like, dude, when it's like they're targeting Solemn, like it's just gonna be like, I don't know, it's not really, you never really go like 2-for-1. They're not just activating Icarus out of nowhere, like, hey, fuck you, like that's not happening. They're waiting for you to do something.
Yeah.
But regardless, like I just don't think it's as good against those two matchups, so that's why I don't main it. And when you look at the Sizzle 41, the only card I want to take out is D-Prison. That's the only card I would cut for Solemn. But if I do that...
How many prisons do you play? 2?
2 Prison and 1 Mirror Force. So if I cut Solemn for D-Prison, though, I don't have a lot of traps left against established fields. This is a thing like Hoban like popularized to use like, you know, like Bombus and shit like that isn't as good because they're just not as good into established fields. So all in all, that's the main reason I don't main Solemn. I still think this card is like A tier minimum, if not S. Okay. Especially now that Lightsword and GB is popular because Solemn is fucking broken against those 2 decks.
Can I ask you a question? Oh no, go ahead, finish your thought before I throw you off.
No, I just didn't know. I just don't know if I'm putting in SRA, but card's broken.
The question I want to ask you, the person I talk to about Yu-Gi-Oh the most is Frazier, so I'm gonna call this like the Frazier take. But what do you think about Frazier's take? And if somebody else also has this take, you know, whatever. I don't know, get fucked. But because you obviously main Gores, and everybody mains Gores in Vayu. So, you know, Frazier, I'm sure you've heard this conversation from him, but he does not like, in general, maining these 2 cards in the same deck because they conflict with each other, like, quite heavily. So, obviously you main Gores. What do you think about that theory in general? And does that have any influence in not maining Solemn, the fact that you main a card like Gores?
It's a slight influence, but it's not... That interaction doesn't come up enough because you have to, if you open both, obviously you're not going to set Solemn, which already sucks because like you're essentially -1, but you will eventually get both off. But it doesn't come up enough where you set Solemn and then draw Gores and you're like, fuck. So I mean, that's the main interaction that sucks. But you know, that's not the main reason. Like if, like let's say hypothetically, Vayu and Blackwing didn't exist, I'm maining Solemn with Gores.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My 2 cents, I agree with everything he said. And in my VayuTurbo list, actually, I did not main deck Solemn for the reasons that he just stated. I don't think Solemn's very good into the bird decks. And honestly, this isn't a card that's on our list, but these days some VayuTurbo lists have been playing Trap Stun, right?
I can add it. We might add Trap Stun and Foolish Burial.
Yeah. Trap Stun is definitely another card worth a conversation. I do agree, like, if it wasn't for the bird decks, then, like, Solemn deck would just be mained. But the problem is, it's just, like, 50% of the field is bird decks, which means 50% of the time, I don't want to see Solemn Judgment. So, for that reason alone, like, I agree, like, it's S or A. If Eric wants to put it in A.
Let me ask this, though, right? Because it sounds like what both you guys are saying is that Solemn Judgment is no lower than A because it's Solemn Judgment. But what I want to know is, because it doesn't sound like you really want to play it all that often. I mean, you did say you might cut Deep Prison for it, but you haven't. My question is, do you think Solemn Judgment really is an A tier card in VayuTurbo, or do you think it's just A tier because it's Solemn Judgment? Like, do you think actually, if you really think about it, maybe you can consider it to be even B tier in the confines of what VayuTurbo is doing as a deck?
I think that's a difficult question.
I feel like Solemn's getting a lot of respect just for his name right now. I feel like he's getting a lot of respect.
Yeah.
Dude, it negates anything. The card is fucking broken.
Solemn is broken, I know, but I just listen to both of you give a lot of reasons why you don't want to play it, and then say it might be S tier. So I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put an A because another thing with VayuTurbo is like, it's so easy to just like set Hamster, set Raikou into a board, or like do a non-committal play, like, you know, Grepher Arma. I'm not gonna set Solemn behind a Grepher Arma, Hamster, Raikou all the time, you know? So the card isn't exactly live very often, whereas a deck like in Blackwing, it's very easy to just like set the card, make a board, or whatever. So like in Blackwing, I would put Solemn higher than Vayu. So like Solemn, I don't know where I'm putting Solemn.
Solemn is like, you usually set it because you want to protect cards, and in Blackwing's Whirlwind right there already, right? Like that's a card you want to protect. And it's a lot harder for Blackwings to establish a field compared to VayuTurbo as well. So, I mean, in Blackwings, yeah, I would give it S. VayuTurbo, I'm really comfortable giving it wherever Eric decides. I think A is a fine placement.
I think A.
So.
Okay. What card do you guys want to talk about next? Anything?
How about we move on into...
Go ahead.
Let's get a couple of the other heavy hitters out the way, right?
Sure.
So, Dust Shoot, S. I don't think there's much discussion about that.
I think there's a little because, dude, the knowledge, like, this is another reason why deck is so broken in VayuTurbo, because, like, VayuTurbo is a Swiss Army knife, right? But as soon as you know hand knowledge, you're just like, dude, I'm just gonna, like, rail you. Like, now I can play Unga Bunga and slam my whole hand.
Yeah.
Or not, depending.
I guess I have a question then for you. What do you think about Dust Shoot going second? A lot of people, they tend to side this card out going second. What do you think about keeping in Dust Shoot in the main deck going second?
Dude, so I keep Dust Shoot in almost, not every single matchup, but like in a lot of matchups going second. The card is broken as frick. Like, even if you open Dust Shoot going second, you're still probably winning that game. The only decks I won't keep it against going second are like decks that can set a lot and is actually dead turn one. So like Blackwing, Hero Beat doesn't exist anymore, but that would be one.
GBs.
Oh yeah, GBs. Yeah, thank you. I can't think of any more set 4 decks, but yeah, stuff like that.
All right, there you have
it. Dude, it's broken as fuck. What do you mean? Like, I just don't understand. I'm trying to sack people. I'm trying to get free wins and sack people, brother.
I'm not disagreeing. Like, I can't tell you, you know, I play Dueling Book probably more than any of the other top players. And maybe the other top players play more than me, but they probably play on Smurf accounts. Like, I don't know. But as far as I know, like, I play more than any of the other top players because I've said this before. I genuinely just love the game. Like, I have a roommate and like he'll come in and what does he see me doing? Just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like for hours. Just like, hey, you're still doing the same thing you're doing when I left. Like I just love the game. And I don't care about like proving something. I'm playing just because I like to play the game, right? And because I play so often, right, bringing this back to Dust Shoot, right, because I play so often, I have seen games where it's just like Dust Shoot just trivializes the game. Like the card is just unfair.
Hand knowledge is broken. It gets rid of a card, which, it 1-for-1s, but, well, most of the time, right? Obviously, sometimes they have no monsters in their hand. But it 1-for-1s, but then the hand knowledge, like you guys have already said, that for the next couple turns where most of the cards that they're going to play, obviously they're going to draw a card, but whatever. The fact that most of their cards, exactly what you can play around and what you can get them to force out is just fucking broken.
Yeah. And it's just like when your opponent opens up Dust Shoot multiple games, you feel a type of way. It's just like, man, Dust Shoot again? Like if they could play any other card, like you're not going to be so tight if they play MST games 2 and 3. But if they Dust Shoot you more than once, you're going to leave that set sour, win or lose. Yeah, you're going to be like, my opponent.
Oh, he sacked.
Yes, exactly. And like, there's very few cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Dark Arm's one of those, where it's just like the opponent would just like, games 1 and 3 or games 1, 2, and 3, he had this card. I can't believe it, right? So it's like, I'm a full agreeance that Dust Shoot's amazing. But since Eric brought up DDV.
I was going to say, we were talking about DDV was mentioned, also seeing him.
I got to say it.
I invented this card.
Thank you. All right, and listen,
Cairo
let me give you guys a little
goddamn card. Apparently, every card.
Let me give you a little history. All right, actually, Deck Devi was not main decked in VayuTurbo. All right, but as I said before, Gary OG99, one of my best friends, right, and like I was doing really well with Deck Devi in the main deck in Diva Hero and in Black Wings, and then we had a conversation. And he's like, yo, Cairo, how's DDV? I was like, it's broken. You should main deck it. And he listened to me and he went on to win the RBET. And then everybody saw, main deck Deck Devi in VayuTurbo is broken. And from that point on, when Gary won that tournament, people started main decking DDV. So I say all this to say this, because I'm about to say something wild, as I always do. The Sizzle 41 is partially a birth because of this guy right here. All right? So that's all I'm saying. Okay? I was the one who played DDV first. All right. Okay. Now that that's off my chest. All right.
It's true. But it was only at 1, right?
Yes, that's true. It was only at 1.
And I was testing 1, but then a little after Gary won, that virus Vayu deck came out. And then I tested that thing, and I hated that deck. I don't like that deck. But
should I have included Electric Virus here? Should I have included that?
Oh yeah, EEV is a good card to include. Yeah. But I didn't like the deck. But I was like, dude, Deck Devi is fucking disgusting. Like this card is not real. I just want to. Why aren't people maining? Because that deck was maining 2 to 3, and I was like, dude, people need to main 2 of this card in regular value. Because I actually think it's easier to get Deck Devi off in regular value. This is the best Deck Devi deck by far, by the way. Like, you have 3 Sirocco, 100%. You have two Caius, you have all 3 values, Chaos Sorcerer, Dark Arm, Gores. Like, it's so easy to get Deck Devi off. And one thing I want to say, like, okay, like we were just talking about hand knowledge, dude. Okay, imagine hand knowledge for 3 turns. The other thing I want to say though is a lot of people shotgun Deck Devi when they have no idea why they're shotgunning Deck Devi. 95% of the time, like, don't shotgun this card. You're just waiting for you're just baiting out something, and then you're gonna Deck Devi. If you're shotgunning Deck Devi, you have to know, like, what am I trying to hit? Like, are you that afraid of Armageddon? Are you that afraid of Lone Fire Blossom? Are you that afraid of Substitute that you have to shotgun Deck Devi? And if the answer is yes, then yeah, you shotgun. But most of the time, you're not shotgunning this card.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The card is broken, but it's not easy to play as people think, because you can essentially misplay with it. Because if you wait, there can be a potential chance where the opponent goes like brain control, or they go, mind control or something. They deprison or whatever have you, and then you can chain Deck Devi at that point. And I agree, it really depends on the matchup, right? If you're up against Frogs and they already have Treeborn in the grave, is it really worth shotgunning Deck Devi? Probably not, right? But if it's turn 1 against Frogs, then it's like, yeah, you might want to hit that Swamp Frog before they can set up. So it really does depend on the matchup. And this just comes with like experience.
Deck Devi's so good, it makes you want to shotgun it, because like you said, you get hand knowledge for 3 turns, and you also like eliminate cards, right? But
yeah, but it's a -2.
But it's a minus. It's The thing about it is, I think a way to think about it too is like, it's Gemini Spark. Like if you play it like it's Gemini, like it's broken, so obviously we'd use it outside of those situations. But if you also start to think of it as Gemini Spark, where nobody just shotguns their Gemini Spark. They wait for you to do something to their alias, they play Gemini Spark, and now you're fucking mad because now that alias got so much more value. And if you use Deck Devi in a situation like Gemini Spark, it becomes so much more powerful because now it's not a -2.
Yeah, that's actually a really good comparison.
That's a great.
And then just to touch on like what Eric was saying about how VayuTurbo is the best Deck Devi deck, I 100% agree with that. And this comes from someone who's played Deck Devi in multiple decks, right? Like I played it in Diva Hero, I played it in Black Wings, I played it in VayuTurbo. And the problem with Deck Devi and Diva Hero is like lack of follow-up, right? After you Deck Devi, because you can go first turn Diva into Catastor and then go Deck Devi. But if you don't have like a starter, then like after you Deck Devi them, you're just going to be doing draw pass. And yeah, you still have hand knowledge, which is really good. But like what good is the hand knowledge if you can't capitalize on it, right? And in Black Wings, actually, it's much more difficult to resolve a Deck Devi in Black Wings than people realize because you cannot summon Sirocco turn 1, right? Like if you're opening 6, you have like Sirocco Deck Devi, you can't play it. And then like you can go like Bora Gale or Shora Gale into like Armor Master and then Deck Devi. But we just said that Deck Devi is a -2. But if you do that specific play, it's like a -3 or whatever. It's terrible. So like unless you have Whirlwind up, then you don't really want to go for first turn, summon level 4 Black Wing, summon Gale, make Armor Master Deck Devi. And even if you do have Whirlwind up, it depends on the other cards in your hand, right? But VayuTurbo easily, you can go like summon Grepher, pitch. But even in that case, like you need to be careful from my experience because like your Grepher is just standing there alone, right?
Yeah,
so if you don't have another trap, yeah, exactly, right? So if you don't have another trap to support Dark Grepher after you resolve that Deck Devi, you might even want to consider actually holding your Deck Devi and like using it at a different time, right? So it's just like, it's a very broken card and the hand of knowledge that you get will likely win you games. And against some decks, it might even be an auto win, but like, it's not, you have to know how to play with it to get the maximum value out of the card. But all of that said, I think we both agree for once. S. I'll let, once again, the authoritative power go to Eric.
Definitely S. All right, here we are. We added a couple cards. We have Trapstone, Foolish Burial, Eradicator Virus, and Elfin, who was forgot about. So who do you guys want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about?
So I kind of just wanted to get away some of the heavy hitters out the way, which is why I wanted to talk about Dust Shoot and Deck Devi. But let's go with, just the standard traps, Mirror Force, Torrential. Where would you give these? Okay. That's fine.
I guess. I mean,
yeah. I personally would give Torrential S only because I think in VayuTurbo, you can clear their board while setting up your own graveyard, right? Whereas Mirror Force A, fine. But I do think Torrential is like a little bit good because essentially it's like how I mentioned the Black Rose play that you could do with Return. On a small scale, you could do that with Torrential. But I'm not going to argue it to the point where it needs to be S, but it's just something that
it could be. Yeah, I feel like it could be either one. Yeah, card's very versatile.
Allure, I think personally S.
Dude, like the fact that all your how broken is it that you can like draw Vayu and be like, fuck yeah, I drew a fucking Vayu, like when you have Grepher or Allure in hand or Rhoda, you're like, yes, Vayu. Like that's how I do this deck is broken. I want to draw my Garnet so bad. Yeah, Allure is so good. And it sets up Return Burial by itself.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, the thing is like it's just a great card. I don't have much to say about it. Brain Control, S.
Oh yeah. So wait, Torrential, are we leaving it A or are we going to say S?
I don't.
Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to
I'll leave it
continuously argue.
I don't know if it's bad.
I think it's all right. What else? What do you think about Caius? That's another card I want to have a discussion about.
We might as well, with the conversation of Caius, you can also include, I feel like Hamster and Raikou, right? They get talked about together, Hamster, Raikou, Caius.
Yeah, HRC. So I know a lot of people have been on the one Caius train.
That sounds crazy.
And I I get it, but like against Blackwing and Vayu, the only card I want to see is Caius. Well, not like only card, but like I really want to see Caius against the bird decks. And Brain Caius is fucking broken. If you're playing 2 hamster, dude, if you open hamster Caius, you like auto win the game. I can't say much more. I get people cited out in a lot of matchups, like against stuff like going second against live decks or like frogs and GB. You cited out, like I totally get it, but most of the time the card is still freaking nuts as long as you don't see both. So you play 2 to see 1, in my opinion, and yeah, I want to see 1 Kais a lot.
Yeah. So the thing is, I don't think that we disagree with the tier. So what tier would you give it?
A.
Okay, I agree. Okay, so I don't think we disagree with the tier. I think the only thing that, and I don't even think we disagree with the number, but I just want to say my piece on it. Yeah. So I'm one of the few people who believe in 1 Caius, but it's also because of my build of the deck. So I've stated before that I don't play double hamster, and if you're playing double hamster, double Caius is mandatory. Like, it doesn't make sense not to play double Caius if you're on double hamster, because he's that much easier to summon. But in my build where I play 1 or sometimes 0 hamsters, at that point, I'm only playing 1 Caius. Because I think like, and this brings up a conversation about Chaos Sorcerer. Caius and Chaos Sorcerer, they play similar roles, not the same role, but similar roles. And I don't want to be in a position where it's like, I have double Caius Chaos Sorcerer, right? I want either 1 Caius, 1 Chaos Sorcerer, or double Caius, right? That's what I want personally. And it's because of the way that like I've built my deck, right? And also by playing 1 or 0 hamsters, you actually have less light targets as well. So that makes Chaos Sorcerer more of a brick. So in the way that I built my deck, that means cards like Chaos Sorcerer and Caius are more of a brick, which is why I only play 1 and 1. But if you are playing the Sizzle 41, you have more lights and you also have more opportunities to summon Caius. So at that point, you should just be playing Chaos Sorcerer double Caius, right? So I think it comes down to the version that you're playing. But that's the only scenario where I would play 1 Caius. But other than that, I give it A, and I agree with everything.
I agree with what you said, where if you're playing less hamsters, it becomes less viable to play more Caiuses. That sounds like it makes sense to me. But I'm curious what Sizzle was saying. Were you saying people are going down to 1 Caius even with still having like double hamster?
No, I don't think they were doing that. I think every double hamster build I've seen is playing 2 Caius.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing I'll agree with Cairo, but I want to expand on it about like Chaos Orc being like an extra like copy of Caius kind of. I agree with that. But the thing is, there was like a good like month or two where James Arc topped a tournament with triple Caius, and like I was testing everything and I was testing triple Caius, and I was like, okay, this is kind of too much because I'm drawing 2 Caius too often. But I appreciated how broken Caius was, because I saw Caius like every game, right? And I'm like, wow, this card is never dead. Like, seeing 2 sucks though. But I was like, wow, I really want to see Caius. So I was like, all right, I'll cut a Caius and put in Chaos Orc instead.
Well, when Gary won the RBTE, he was main decking triple Caius, right? And of course, that was a while ago, but he was main decking triple Caius at that time. And, you know, Gary's views on Caius, I think it's similar to what we just discussed, right? Like, I think that if he's playing a build with multiple hamster, he'll play 2. I know for a fact that Gary is not the biggest fan of Chaos Sorcerer, whether or not he's playing double hamster, because he agrees with Eric in that, like, he wants every card to be standalone good. And Chaos Sorcerer, when you resolve it, it's amazing, but like, it can just sit in your hand for a long period of time, and that card could have just been something else. But me personally, like, I like cards like that, because if you remove Light and Dark, and once again, this goes back to Lila, right? If I banish Lila, for example, with Chaos Sorcerer, and then I bring back Lila with Return, broken. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely insane. So I just think that, like, and not only just on the light side, but even on the dark side, when you summon Chaos Sorcerer, you can banish your Gale, which is relevant because typically Gale doesn't have a way of being banished outside of a lore. So it's like, you can banish certain cards that otherwise wouldn't be banished, and that can set up your return to make it even more powerful, which is why I really like 1 Chaos Sorcerer and 1 Caius if I'm only playing like 1 or 0 hamsters, right?
Where are we putting Chaos Orc?
Yeah, since we're talking about him. I mean, I think Chaos Sorcerer, he's right there with Caius. I think he's A. And the only reason why I don't think he's S is because he's not consistent enough. I think like if he was more consistent, he would be S because he's minimum a +1. Because if you summon him and they go bottomless, well, that's fine. I still got rid of your monster. But it's just the fact that like he's not always consistent, even if you're playing multiple hamsters. Sometimes you might have to wait till you draw that light. But he's amazing.
Yeah. I agree.
What about the hamster and the Raikou?
I mean, I think hamster, even though like I only play one hamster, I think hamster is one of the, if not the best starter in the deck. And it's amazing. A lot of things can't get over 18 by itself. And then not only that, it's a body that gets another body that destroys something for free. Like hamster is so good. It's so good. And I think I even recalled, I can't quote you exactly what you said, Eric, but I remember like watching a video of you and you said something like other people want to open up like Return or like Future Fusion or something like that. Like you like, I just want hamster, right?
Black Whirlwind, Few. Everyone's like, Dushu, let me open Dushu, Black Whirlwind, Few. I'm like, dude, just let me send hamster pass. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, obviously he's to some extent joking because obviously Future Fusion does shoot those cards are more broken. But the point is he's putting emphasis on how important hamster is in the deck, right? And like I think it's the best starter. I'm not going to give it a tier because like I think it's appropriate that Eric gives this card the tier.
I also just want to say before Eric gives it a tier and gives what his thoughts are, hamster I feel like is a card similar to Armageddon Knight where you go like you went summon Armageddon Knight, pitched Gardna attack, and you're like, why do I feel like I'm under so much pressure? I feel like when somebody sets a card and you go attack into it and it's fucking hamster and then they have a set Raikou,
it's over!
It suddenly feels like, oh my fucking god, what do I do? Like I didn't do anything but set a card and all of a sudden you attacked me and you feel like I pressured you, like that Raikou showing up, I now have 2 bodies on the field. It feels bad when that happens. It feels real bad.
You want to know something like that you just said that I will never forget my set against Matt Kalinda when we played for the first Ultimate Time Wizard event. And like he won the die roll or whatever. And then he goes like, set hamster. And I open up my 6 and I open up Spine Gilman as usual because it's me. And I go summon Spine Gilman. And I was thinking to myself, for the love of God, please, I hope this is not a hamster. For the love of God. Because I knew in my head, I was like, if it's Raikou, I have a chance. But if it's hamster, the game's over. And I go Spine Gilman attack, and it was hamster.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh my God. And then like he got Raikou, and I think I had like Dust Shoot, right? So I set Dust Shoot and I passed. And then like because it's Matt Kalinda and not just like the average VayuTurbo player, right? And this isn't to insult anybody, right? Because we're all at different points in our Yu-Gi-Oh career. But he goes flip up Raikou, and what does he target?
Of course, he's gonna target Gilman, bro. He knows you're.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. That's the point. He targets the Gilman, right? Whereas most players, right, in that situation, they're gonna target the back row, right? So he targeted the Gilman, and it just put me in such a bad spot. And then I wound up having to activate Dust Shoot anyway, and like it just the game kind of just fell apart from there. But the point of that story is just like attacking into a hamster is so problematic. It's so problematic.
Yeah.
My favorite in that scenario is if I have Card Trooper in my hand, I just summon Trooper. Because I'm like, if it's torrential, like it's fine. Like I still +1, and if it's not torrential, dude, I just run away with the game. Like because you probably have Dust Shoot. Yeah, it's so broken. What are you gonna say, Kenny?
No, I was just agreeing, and then all I was gonna say is with all of the great things we've said about hamster, where do we? Oh, do you want to talk a little bit about? Do you ever feel like with hamster Raikou? Obviously, like it. I tend to feel really bad if I go second and then I just like open like hamster or Raikou and I just have to set hamster Raikou. Does that go into where do you think you're going to end up tiering these people, and how do you in general feel, dealing with the fact that like turn 1 my opponent went set and then turn 2 I go fucking set? Like how does that, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I think that's probably the biggest complaint about hamster Raikou is going second. But my views on it I feel like are a little more skewed than most people because like, okay, if you play against frogs and you go second, yeah, the hamster Raikou is complete ass. But like, let's say you're playing against Blackwing, right? And they go, well, they're either passing or they're summoning a Blackwing turn 1. Most of the time they're passing. But regardless, even if they have like a Shro or a Bora out turn 1, dude, you can still send Hamster into them and be completely fine.
True.
Against VayuTurbo, so they either go Grepher Arma or they set. Against Grepher Arma, you can totally set Hamster Raikou and then put them on having the Caius. And if they do set Hamster or Raikou, well, now there's a mind game, because you can set Hamster or Raikou into Hamster, at least. And even if it is Raikou, what are they going to do with the Raikou?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they +1 that turn, but you're going to +1 it right back. And that's assuming you have no other card to play into the set. Like, because if I have like Sirocco, Grepher, Armageddon, Card Trooper, I'm obviously going to summon one of those instead.
True.
Yeah, so it's not as bad as people think it is. The one thing I will admit is it sucks when you draw multiple in your opening hand. That's when it's like, oh god. If you don't go first and you draw multiple Hamster Raikou, you're like, it kind of sucks here. But I play multiple because like I want to play the game. Like it's a +1. I want to play the game, and if I go first, I'm just gonna run away with the game.
So where do we put them? Hamster, Raikou.
My last thing that I'll say about Hamster Raikou before Eric gives his final verdict. Another reason why I like Lila is because I once again I tested all of these things, and as I've said previously, I don't like setting cards unless I have to, and I don't like the hands where you do open up like double Hamster Raikou or like even Hamster double Raikou, and it's just like it feels very awkward. And like you still can win with those hands because Hamster is just that boy. He's just that boy. But it really is dependent on your opponent not having outs to face down monsters. And if they do, then you're going to be in a tough spot. But yeah.
I think bottom of A or maybe top of B. Because you are signing Hamster out, going second in a lot of matchups. But I wouldn't be mad top of A or bottom of B.
Both of them? Put them right next to each other?
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
I'll put them B for now. And then, what were you going to say, Cairo?
No, I mean, I was going to say like, I don't know. I feel like Hamster deserves a bit higher, but maybe
No, it does. It does.
I'm that teacher because I'm a teacher, right? Like in real life, and I'm the teacher who's just like, all the kids are good. They all get A's like this. You know what I mean?
So wait, you think
maybe I'm
Hamster
just like
deserves to be a bit higher than Raikou? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I think it deserves to be an A tier. But like, well, it could just be that
I think Cairo's right, dude. Hamster also enables so much for the deck because, like with my build with the double Hamster charge and 3 Raikou, that's 6 lights for Chaos Orc because I really wanted to play Chaos Orc. Hamster enables Chaos Orc, enables Caius, and also enables Gale and Plague. People don't think about that. Like if you run to Hamster and then you have Gale and Plague, Gale or Plague, you're just like, oh, let me Goyo snatch that. Dude, imagine, it's just over.
I like how excited he just got. It was just like, I don't know, Hamster might be A, might be B.
I'm feeling things, man.
And then he just got really excited. So Hamster, I like Hamster in A. I think it makes sense.
And like, also, it goes back to like, the quote when I was trying to quote Eric earlier, where it's just like how he said he really wants to open that card. It's just like you can't really want to open that card and then put it in B tier.
You're right.
It's just like
facts. And then so Raikou, is Raikou still right next to Hamster in A, or do you think he's B?
He's below Hamster.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think he's below Hamster. I do think like B is fine. I think top of B though. Top of B.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Where do you want to put Charge?
Ooh.
Charge is an interesting card, and I'm gonna say my bit about Charge. I know in the community, a lot of people were saying like, do we play Charge? Do we not play Charge? To me, it's just all foolishness. I don't get why you wouldn't play the card. It's just I don't understand it. Oh, we're trying to smoke screen the deck that we're trying to play. We don't want to give away information. Whatever the reason has it, Charge is just, first of all, it's limited. It's limited for a reason. You can mill one of your pieces. You can mill a Plague. You can search out your Raikou. You can search out Lila if you're playing it. Like, it's just so good. I mean, I don't know why you would think of not playing this card. And like, Gary, when he won the RBT, I believe he was side decking Charge of Light Brigade. And he asked me before the event, what did I think about him charging it, putting it in a side deck? And I said, well, Gary, whatever choice you make, I'm going to support you, right? But like, I wouldn't side it. And he won the event. You know what I mean? So take that what you will from it, but I do think the card just should be main decked. I wouldn't side it out. Like it's Rhoda. It's Rhoda for your lights. It's Rhoda for your lights, you know? So I don't know. Where would I put it? Minimum A tier.
Yeah.
Minimum A tier. Minimum. I mean,
it lets
just
you
VayuTurbo, the thing is,
win the game. Like,
yeah, it's like VayuTurbo. It's like all the spells are broken. All the spells are just so good. And like Charge, if I open up Charge, I feel good. So the only bad thing about Charge is like there's two bad things. One, if you're playing, you know, multiple hamsters or Raikos, you can mill your targets, and that doesn't feel good, right? And then two, if like you have only one or two charged targets left, and then you mill the last one, then like you feel bad because you go -1. But it's just like that is so rare to happen. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the 41st card in my deck. I was maining double hamster over Charge because like I really respect the Blackwing matchup, and hamster's just so broken into Blackwing. But then I was like, dude, Charge is fucking broken. And shouts to Ernie, he was the first person I saw do, because everyone was doing either 1 hamster, 1 charge, or 2 hamster, because people thought like, you know, 3 starters for 3 Raikos doesn't make any sense. And I saw Ernie do 2 hamster, 1 charge, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try this because I really, really wanted to play Charge as well, and it like that milling all the Raikos doesn't happen too often. Like I don't know what the percent is, but it doesn't happen that often. It does, but not too often. So I was like, yeah, I'm really happy with Charge.
So Charge is the 41st card. Like
yes.
The reason why Sizzle 41 is 41 is because Charge. It was like, you know what? I can't get this down to 40. We need 41 and
no.
It
was originally, so there's only 2 Vayu builds I play, and it was originally Samu's build. I had Samu's build like initially, like a long time ago. I didn't have Charge and Chaos Orc, and I just had Solemn. And then I'm like, I really want to play Chaos Orc, so I cut Solemn and added those 2.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. All right. Let's
also,
move on.
Quick side note, because it's 41 cards, not that this really matters, but it's one more card. It does lessen the % chance of milling all your lights.
That's my copium. That's my copium.
It does technically lessen the chance of milling them.
Oh, well, speaking of lights, what do you think about Cyber Dragon? These days, some builds have been main decking Cyber Dragon. What are your thoughts? And even I'll say this, Gary. You know, sometimes we give Gary a hard time, but Gary, he said that he wanted to main deck Cyber Dragon, and then like we gave him a hard time about it, and then like later, I think like a build main decking Cyber Dragon either topped or won an event, right? And then he came to us with "I told you so," right? Now, the thing about Cyber Dragon that we were saying is like it's not a bad card, but it's a fair card. It's fair. It's too fair. And the thing about VayuTurbo is like when you look at it as a whole, the cards that they play are unfair cards, right? Now, 21 is scary, right? Like, think about Lightsworn's Wolf. But Wolf comes at a +1, not like an actual 1-for-1. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a little bit different. But, I mean, overall, Cyber Dragon, he's a light for Chaos Sorcerer. He doesn't use your normal summon. You can do niche combos by going into like a level 8 Synchro with Gale or even Black Rose with Plague. Worst comes to worst, you can go Cyber Tribute for Caius, right? So, I mean, he does fulfill some niches of the deck, but what do you think about him and where would you tier him?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's in the side deck and not the main deck. I think a lot of people, when they play Cyber, almost everyone is cutting Hamster for Cyber because they want to balance the going first and going second because they don't want to lean too heavy going first, and I get that. But like I said earlier, Hamster is not that bad going second, and Hamster is engine. Like, milling is engine. Cyber, unless you have the combos Cairo just said, is a 2100 vanilla. So if you ask me like, would I rather open Hamster or Cyber? Is like, yeah, maybe going second against the certain matchups, I want to open Cyber going second. But if I'm going first or even going second in certain matchups, I want Hamster. I want to see my engine. So yeah, I'm probably putting this card in like, I don't know, top of C.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sirocco. We spent all this time talking about VayuTurbo, but we didn't talk about Sirocco.
Yeah, there was a couple cards I was about to, because I was going to bring up.
We should go through. Yeah.
I was going to bring up like Plague. Like I feel like Plague is like a super broken card we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what do you
like,
want to talk about first, Plague or Sirocco?
I mean, I think Plague would be the easiest. I think Plague is an easy S tier, no debate.
Agreed. Why I thought we needed to bring them up.
Once again, like the whole purpose of why I built my VayuTurbo deck the way that I did was because I was saying that like VayuTurbo only has 2 tuners, and if you add an Ashura, you can utilize the Vayus. But even Plague by himself, you can use up to 4 times per duel, right? You can normal summon it, you can bring it back from the grave, you can return it, and then you can bring it back from the grave again, right?
And you can burial it.
You can burial it.
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me.
You can use it more than 4 times.
Yeah. You can also burial it, right? So, excuse me, you can add an extra one on top of that, right? So, just Plague by himself enables the deck to do so many synchros, and then like we've already talked about earlier, like Sirocco Plague into Black Rose, and then basically reusing your graveyard all over again from your Banished Zone when you bring it back with return. The fact that you can go into cards such as Brio or the Desperate Goyu Guardian, we call it the Desperate Armageddonite play, right? Yeah. Where it's just like you have no other options but to go summon Army Knight, send Plague, stack, and make a level 6, either Brio or Goyu. Most times it's Goyu, but it can be Brio. And like even that play, surprisingly, walks. It walks a lot more times than you would give it credit for. And that play is so good because if you're making Goyu, you're probably going to steal like a Synchro or like a Gorus. If you're making Brio, you're going to probably pitch like the pieces in your hand. It's just like, it's so good that at any point in time, you have access to a level 6 Synchro because of Plague. And like, there's just niche combos that you can do with it too. Like you can allure it if it's your only dark and then bring it back. And it's just, it's an S. Yeah. It's an S. It does everything you want it to do and more.
I don't think this deck would be like quote unquote best deck in format if Plague didn't exist.
Do you ever run into a situation where, and is this like even worth talking about, or am I just being like a noob for even bringing? But do you ever run into a situation where you use Plague to fix your hand? Like for example, you have your last Raikou and you have Hamster set, similar to how like you use Plague to fix your hand if you have like Mally, right? Do you have Mally in your you use the Plague to fix your hand? How often do you feel like
a common play in like VayuTurbo is like basically if you have Card Trooper, right? So you can just like stack the piece that you want on top of your deck and then go Card Trooper mill, right? That's just an easy example. So yeah, or even charge, right? So there's so many different ways where it's like you can utilize that version of Plague's effect. Like he's great.
Great card. Easy S. Sirocco.
S. Okay, not only is it, the heart of the deck with Vayu, but it enables deck Devi. It makes it so it's one of the prime reasons why Vayu, in my opinion, has a winning matchup against Blackwing. And I don't think it's talked enough about how crazy it is to have access to a 2000 vanilla. It's like kind of disgusting how a lot of the things that would normally check Vayu, like Kaiku, for example, just get absolutely destroyed by Sirocco.
I have a question. Should the deck be called Sirocco Turbo? Sirocco when I flip here and Vayu.
When I flip return, I'm pumping Vayu to 8800. Yeah, maybe it should be.
Yeah, I mean, he said it all. And like the thing is, it's just with Sirocco, it enables OTKs. It gives a good Blackwing matchup, like was already stated. 2000 vanilla enables deck Devi. Like also Sirocco Gale, right? You can make level 8 synchros very easily. We've said multiple times, Sirocco Plague and the Black Rose. Just Sirocco is just that. Gale's an easy yes, right? If we're talking about Gale, yeah, like
you said Gale, and I just
almost every deck that he's played in, he's an S. Like, first of all, he's a special summon, and it's very easy to special summon Gale and VayuTurbo because you play so many Blackwings, and his effect is just broken to half. Like, oh, a Stardust is on the board, half, run over, dead.
It is convenient that he
can
kill Stardust himself too. Like, it puts Stardust at just the right attack stat that he can kill him.
Yeah, he enables you to play a little bit more aggressively too. Because one thing that we haven't talked about yet is VayuTurbo into Gorz. VayuTurbo, as great of a deck as it is, if you drop a Gorz at the right time against it, it can struggle. Gorz can literally turn the tide around and give your opponent the game. A well-timed Gorz against VayuTurbo. But like if you have Gale, you're less worried about Gorz because you can just half it, and then you can make either a real Armor Master to soak up damage, or you can make Black Rose if you have to, right? So it's just like Gale, he's just so good. And even standalone, like not early game, but like mid to late game, a Gale and a D prison, do you know how hard that is to get by with like a Necro in your grave?
Yeah,
and it's just like that Gale is going to start like 13. This is the thing about monsters with low attacks. By themselves, it's not like a lot of damage, but if a monster such as Armageddonite or Gale, if they attack you directly twice, that's 26, that's 28. That's a lot of life points. So it's just like Gale, like mid, early, late game, doesn't matter when you have him. He's just so versatile and so good. And I mean, easy S.
Easy.
Yeah.
What about let's just, I don't know, fucking Reckless Greed. I don't know.
That's F.
Yeah, so
next.
Why do people play this card?
That you said that.
Do you know why people play this card in this deck?
Who plays this card?
Yeah, so it's like,
I don't know. I saw it in some list.
So the thing is, someone who I know is trying to play a newer version of VayuTurbo where they incorporate like the teleport engine, right? So they're playing like Krabans, E-Tele, and I think they got this idea from the kind of like VayuHero player who like top with Stardust Assault mode, because that deck was playing like Dark Grepher and pretty much the Vayu engine with like tuners, right? So they thought that, oh, we can just add this to Nitro Vayu, and Nitro Vayu plays like the draw traps to make like a more consistent rushdown engine. But at the end of the day, I think what carries both decks, Stardust Assault mode and like this teleport Vayu deck, is just the Vayu engine. Yeah. And I think you're just adding extra cards that don't give enough assistance or benefit to the deck. And like Reckless Greed, like if you open up multiple Recklesses, like you're probably going to win because Reckless Chain Reckless is just so broken. But like most times, it's just you're not playing a deck like Dragon Turbo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Eric said it earlier, right? Like this is more like a control deck. You know, your goal isn't always just to like beat them in 1 or 2 turns. It's just like you can have different ways that you can win the game. I don't think Reckless helps with that objective. Yeah. So I mean, I would agree. Like it's F. It's just not.
I think it's bad in this deck. I saw once again. I was looking at like all of like the top Vayu decks, and I did see it randomly. I don't remember who played it. I did see it randomly in like some deck, and then so I just added it. But I do agree that I think for the main composition of the deck, and even the Nitro version, and we can quickly just talk about, I guess, like your opinion on the draw trap version, and then I guess also Icarus, because that's commonly played with the draw trap version. I think even in that version, Reckless, you still wouldn't play Reckless Greed. But yeah.
I'll say my 2 cents, and then I'll let Eric give the tier. But this is the thing about Nitro Vayu in general. Nitro Vayu doesn't play the lights, right? They just play like the darks and draw traps. So it's just like when they set a card, you don't have anything to fear. And also, like, the only trap card that you're worried about is Icarus Attack, right? So they substituted the lights for Icarus Attack. So if they don't have a Blackwing up on the board, you know that their back row is essentially fake. It's a dead Icarus, it's a Yada, it's a Jar of Greed. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it could be. And then the build that top, the 3 players that top, they weren't even playing bottomless. So it's like, I don't know if like more modern versions have adapted to play bottomless, but at least the version that people commonly net deck, they're not main decking bottomless. So it's like they don't have defense. And like not only that, but like that deck, if they don't have Icarus Attack, they have an even harder time outing monsters above like 23, 24, because that's where Raikou shines, right? It's like he's just good at clearing those cards. So I think actually, in my humble opinion, the reason why Nitro Vayu did so well is because the element of surprise. Yeah. And that's something that like when you catch people off guard, then of course you're going to do well. But overall, like I think that it's not as good as VayuTurbo in its purest form.
Yep, 100% agreed. I mean, I do think those 3 players are also really, really freaking good. So they also carry the deck too. So it's like, like you haven't seen the deck do that well since then.
Yeah, I think in addition to the players being incredible, one of the things Cairo said that like I think is a really good point is that the deck's not playing bottomless. and nobody expected that to be the deck, like the draw traps with Icarus. Now that people know that, if you just go into now you know that's a deck, you go into it knowing, oh, they don't have defense. So you play against the deck very differently. Whereas throughout that entire tournament, people were probably thinking that this deck had real defense when it didn't, and that's helped it win. So I think element of surprise is probably a really big thing. And that goes into the fact that those 3 players are really good. Part of being really good is knowing what to call for the meta and how to take advantage of that going into a weekend.
Yeah, that being said, like, Yada and Jar for regular value actually isn't that bad. Like, I've played it, like, Steven, shouts to Steven VQ, he topped a YCS with triple Yada in the main for regular value, and he said it was really, really good. And I tried it, and it's pretty good, especially when you go first and you can go, like, Hamster, Raiko, Set, Jar, Yada. It's pretty safe, and you just, I don't know, catch him by surprise, but I just think every other card that you could play is probably just better, unfortunately.
Yeah. What are we thinking?
I'm probably putting those in C. Like, you could play them and be fine, but there's probably just better options.
I always put Jar a tier below Yada.
That's funny.
And now, hold on.
Icarus, hold on.
Yeah, hold on. We were talking about the draw traps, not Icarus attack.
I got something to say about Icarus. Yeah.
All right. You can put the draw traps are already sorted. But as for Icarus attack, so once again, Anaheim, where I did not main deck MST, even though I didn't main deck MST, I main deck Icarus attack, because essentially Icarus attack was supposed to be in place of MST, because you can essentially everything that you would MST, you can Icarus attack, right? In some cases it's a slower version, in some cases a faster version. It really just depends. But anyway, earlier in this video, right, Eric said like he doesn't like drawing Vayu, right? Because it's a brick / garnet. But like if you draw Vayu with Icarus attack, oh, you feel so good. You feel so good. And like in my build, so I didn't main deck double DDV, but I main deck 1 DDV, 1 Icarus attack. And the reason is because there's only so many cards you contribute, right? But you actually have, it's debatable when you get into like the numbers, but you have more targets that you contribute with Icarus attack than DDV. Once again, it gets debatable because you could talk about like the extra deck and things like that. But anyway, as far as the main deck goes, right? And in my build, is exactly where I was playing, Shore as well, I had a bit more targets, right? So I just like Icarus attack because at that time, there was no Nitro Vayu. So when I got 3rd place, Nitro Vayu wasn't a thing, right? So basically, Icarus attack, once again, I caught so many people off guard. Now, I wasn't the first person to main deck Icarus, or else I'd be shouting it loud and proud. There have been other people.
Cairo, we know you would.
I'll let you know. I would let you know. Yes. That's why I didn't mention that before, right? But it definitely, even now, I would say is not very popular outside of Nitro Vayu, right? But I do think the card is really, really, really good because even though it's not very popular, it's just a general good card. And because it's not popular, it's unexpected. You're not going to play around Icarus attack the way that you would against Black Wings. Against Black Wings, it's very rare that you'll put multiple cards on the field because you're always wary of Icarus attack. But against VayuTurbo, you often get that +1 because you're just not expecting them to have Icarus attack. You're playing around like other cards, but not necessarily Icarus attack. So I really like the card. For me, it's a staple in VayuTurbo just because it's just hits everything you need it to do. And also going back to like how VayuTurbo has a hard time against Gores. Well, now I don't care. Now I actually can just OTK you through a Gores, right? If I have game on board, I'll attack with the Blackwing first. You'll drop Gores at any point in time, and then I'll just Icarus the Blackwing that I've already attacked with, and then proceed to kill you, right? And then like even if I don't have game and I like attack, and then you think I'm unsafe because VayuTurbo has a hard time on your turn when you go like Tribute for Caius or you go Heavy Storm or you just go into your battle phase, I'll just Icarus attack and I'm fine. So I really, really, really love Icarus attack. It gives Vayu extra use. And even not just on Vayu, even on the synchros, you can do like niche plays where it's just like, I already have like, let's say a Vayu in the grave, and then I Icarus attack one of the synchros to like clear some of the board for extra space, and I get rid of your cards, and I go banish with Vayu's effect, and then I proceed to kill you. So it's just like, I think the card's really good. Me personally, I think Icarus attack is an A. I think that card is really, really good. But I'll leave it to the master himself because I want to hear what he has to say.
No, I would also put an A. I don't play this card because in my testing, DDV has just been better way more often. Because when you open Icarus, they don't have 2-3 cards on the field. Like they're gonna have maybe they have 2. Rarely do they have 3. And against Blackwing, if they have 3, one's a draw trap. So DDV has been much better in my experience because I value every card being like good in the opening hand. Like I really want all my cards to be live at least by turn 2. And I don't think there's a single card in my deck that's really not like that. Icarus, unfortunately, Icarus is freaking insane when you get that juicy 2 for 3. But like that rarely happens because it's really hard for them to have 3 cards on the field. Like the most common scenarios when you go armed wing and then they chain bottomless and you go Icarus the other 2 cards. It doesn't really happen that often. It more happens when they swarm you and then you can like set Ica defensively. But then most of the time, in my testing at least, it just goes 2 for 2, which is still good enough most of the time. I think the biggest plus with Icarus right now is no one expects it. Like in the mid game, if you have Icarus, people are playing to that shit all the time, and that really does happen. I just think DDV is better.
That's also kind of cool with now the Nitro version being a known version, right? Before it had the element of surprise, but now that it's a known version, I think something that better players could take advantage of is if you're playing standard Vayu but happen to have Icarus attack. If you play Icarus attack early in the set, they might think you're on a different version of the deck, and then you could use that to your advantage when you're just playing regular Vayu and catch them or trap them in different ways. Because you lead them into thinking, I'm playing a version of the deck I'm not playing. So they think all my back rows are fake. And every time they run into a back row, it's real. They're like, where is his draw traps at?
Yeah, I never thought about that. If somehow you get an early Icarus, you could just like set 3. But then you'd also have to know your opponent's good.
Right. So it's funny that you bring that up because I play Shura. Now, this doesn't happen much into games 2 and 3. But because I play Shura, if I open up like Shura and let's say bottomless, they might think I'm on Blackwings when I'm not. And like, because the way you play against Blackwings and VayuTurbo is not the same, especially if you're a better player, that can give me an advantage because it's like, against VayuTurbo, you can put a little bit more cards on the field, but like against Blackwings, you can't because they're just because of Icarus attack, right? Like I just mentioned. Whereas like VayuTurbo, the mass destruction cards are going to be like Heavy Storm or you can argue Dark Arm, things like that, right? So it's just like it allows me to play in a way that gives me a little bit of advantage because they're not committing as much cards as they would because they think that I'm on Blackwings. You know what I mean? Yep. And then like I can surprise them like, oh no, it's VayuTurbo, right? So it doesn't happen often, but it can happen. And then like when you're up against a player who's very good, even an advantage, like a minuscule advantage this much matters a lot. It matters a lot.
Real quick, with the other draw cards, where do you want Upstart?
I think it's B. Maybe top of C. It's honest. Like you can put Upstart on anything and be fine. But the thing is, like, the life points actually matter a good amount depending on the matchup. Like if I'm playing against combo and I Upstart you, oh my god, I'm going to end my life. Or if I play against like frogs and I Upstart them, I'm like pretty sad about it. That's like probably the biggest reason I don't like Upstart because the life points actually just matter more often than you'd expect.
Yeah.
But like if I'm playing the mirror match, it probably doesn't really matter, and it's probably a good card to have. I know Oscar Zelaya is in love with this card, and he will play a 3 Upstart no matter what. So it surely can't be that bad, but it just in my testing, it's not the greatest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Upstart either.
Right.
So I'm okay.
And
C as well.
What about
let's move on to some more easy ones. How about Gores? We've spoken a lot about Gores. For me, Gores is S because it's not that he's specifically doing anything special in VayuTurbo, but I just think it's just he's just that card. I think he's just that card.
I disagree. I think he's S, but I actually do think he's doing a lot in VayuTurbo because So another reason I think Hamster is fine, is going second even, is because of Gores. If I open Gores Hamster, I am the safest guy in the world. Like, if you Caius my Hamster, you're gonna fucking lose the game. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm so nice with the Hamster's ass. Gores, 2400 token, you lose. Like, it happens against Frogs all the time, which is, I'm giving out side deck tips, but I never side out Gores against Frogs because if I open Gores and Oppression,
hey, we can
I'm
censor
just gonna...
that if you want. Do you want?
No. I don't care. It's fine. If I open Gores and Oppression against Frogs, I'm not setting Oppression. I'm just gonna let you Caius my Hamster or whatever, and I'm gonna Gores you and then set Oppression.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. And once again, it comes from his experience playing Hamster, and my builds don't play as many Hamsters. But I think Gores is great. Once again, little small advocate for Shura. Shura, if you run over a monster by battle, though it's difficult, and you happen to have a Gores up on the board,
oh yeah,
you can make a level 8 synchro.
Dude, that is the hottest thing, dude. Like, I want to go back to Tengu format and summon Glow Up Ball with Gores. God, that feels so good.
Yep. Elephant. What do you think about Elephant? I'm not a big Elephant fan, to be honest. I think it's just trying to make the deck do something that it doesn't need to particularly do. I get that it can like help with the lines faster, like you can reach Silverwind faster. I mean, it goes into Armor Master, and then Armor Master is a step above Armwing, so you get to Silverwind faster. It's good for decks that are playing like Eradicator, right? Because it makes 25 easier. Just normal summoning it can be okay because you can switch a guy to defense and its attacks like quite good. But I just think all in all, like I would rather just have a Sirocco most times. And even because of the level too, I think Sirocco and Elephant are different levels, right? I think Elephant
6.
is, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Elephant 6. So it's just like, I mean, yes, you can say you can use Elephant with Plague, but like VayuTurbo doesn't necessarily have a problem with 6s because they have Chaos Sorcerer, Caius, and even Armwing. So I just think that like it's a good card, but it's not necessarily needed. But you can share your thoughts.
I agree with all those sentiments, but the main reason why people play Elephant is either for Eradicator normally,
right?
Or I actually talked to Dirk about this, and I actually think it's a really good idea, and I should test it more, but I don't think it's good enough in my head. But it's a good side card against Frogs because you can just play into Caius, or you can play into a Monarch, and if they do have the Monarch, then you have an insta out for it because you just insta 2500 over it, which I think is a great like thing to have because most of the time, if I have Raikou or Hamster, and if I get soloed by a Monarch, like if my hand cannot handle a Monarch, I'm just draw passing. But with Elephant, that it lets you play differently, right? It supplements your engine, which I value a lot. Like a lot of these cards are good, like when you draw it, but Elephant's just good, if you just have, if you have Grepher or Armageddonite. So yeah, I'd probably put it at B because I think it's a lot better than all these other cards because it will come up more. But it sucks so much to draw. It's such a dud. Yeah, it's worse than drawing value.
All right, I agree with that.
You mentioned Eradicator alongside of it, and I think it's a good opportunity to talk about Eradicator.
You can't main this card, unfortunately. It's so dead. It's such a broken card, but you can't main it. You have to side and you have to side it because the juice isn't worth the squeeze unless you know what matchups you're playing. And even when you side it, it still can be dead because it's just so hard to get 2500 plus.
What do you think? Probably here.
I'd probably put it at C because the card is so freaking broken, and Vayu is probably one of the only decks that can facilitate it. But I just can't recommend maining this card.
But never main it. Like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, you have to side it. And then you have to be like in a meta where it's like Dragon Turbo combo or everywhere, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna F these guys up. And then you're just playing Degenerate versus Degenerate, and I'm like, you're probably gonna quit locals anyway, so whatever.
Hey, what about Trooper? Yeah. Trooper is, I feel like, an easy card.
Dude, thank you.
Let's talk about Trooper.
Easy S. Bro, that like Card Trooper is just every time my opponent summons Card Trooper, I'm annoyed. Like I get the same feeling as when they summon Gale. It's just a frustrating feeling because first of all, you can't torrential it, you can't bottomless it, you can't mirror force it. It's just like the only time I feel okay is if I have a D prison. And the reason why I only feel okay is because if that Card Trooper mill gets out of hand, then it's just like even the D prison just wasn't good enough, right? So it's just like Card Trooper it's the safest normal summon. You can easily run into almost any face down with it. Hamster, Raikou, I don't know, Snowman Eater, right? Like it's just so safe. And like, I mean, it also not only is it just a good summon, but it enables what the deck needs. a good graveyard, right? And Card Trooper in combination with Army Knight is like a soft like combo that's like really good. So like a lot of times people are like confused, maybe like newer VayuTurbo players, like what do I summon first? Do I summon the Army Knight? Do I summon the Card Trooper? And the answer is always it depends. There's no right answer all the time. But I would say as a general rule of thumb, random milling, then controlled milling. As a general rule of thumb, right? So it's just like you randomly mill your, I don't know, Vayu, and then you control mill your Sirocco, right? That's like the general rule. And as I just said previously, it really just depends. But Card Trooper is just, he's just so good. He's just so good. So S.
I want to just quick comment on that. I really agree with what you just said with random milling first and then controlled milling, because when you do the random mill, if you do the controlled mill first, you lessen the chance of the random mill being good. So you do the random mill first because that has a higher chance of it being a better mill, and then you do the control mill to get the other piece that you didn't get from the random mill.
Yeah, but you also like you can't just like randomly send Vayu and then you mill another Vayu and you're like, fuck me. Should've hit Sirocco. But yeah. Totally agree with that's why most of the time you also set Raiko Hamster first before the Gref for Arma. But dude, Card Trooper sees 4 cards. I don't think people get that, man. Like this card is so broken. This card is just like I would play 3 of this card if it was at 3, like 100%. Like even if Machine Dupe's not a card, I would play 3 of this card.
Yeah.
You know, it's really funny that you say that because Samuel Pustino, in Tengu format, he played VayuTurbo, and I was looking at one of his lists recently because here in Korea they play OCG 1103, and 1103 is pretty much very similar to Tengu format, and in that format, Card Trooper is at 2. But anyway, in Samuel Pustino's list, he played double Card Trooper. And it's just like it just goes to show you like how because I consider like you and him perhaps like the best 2 VayuTurbo players in the world, right? But anyway, and he played double Card Trooper in his list. So it's just like Card Trooper really is just that card. And he even cut like an Armageddonite. He went down on Armageddonites in his list to play double Card Trooper. So it just goes to show you like how much he values Card Trooper in the deck.
I mean,
I know it's a strong card.
It answers Thunder King. I think that's more of it, the reasoning. I think
right. Of course, the format is different. That's something that we have to be aware of, right? It answers Thunder King, and also like, BLS is in the format that changes things. Like, it's not Edison format. It's a different format. You have to counter different like threats. But the point is, it's just like he still chose to play double Card Trooper in this when he had the option to play it.
Regardless, the card's good. It sees 4 cards. You get to mill 3, and if it's destroyed, you draw 1. If it somehow doesn't get destroyed, you can just mill next turn too. It can
if it doesn't get destroyed, it wasted a valuable resource. Like, dude, the card is like
it's a 1900 that can't be bottomless. It's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. That is so crazy.
But real quick, these 2 traps, bottomless and deep prison.
I mean, to me, they're just generic trap cards. I would put them in like, you can argue A or B. They're just generic trap cards, but
yeah. The one thing I'll say is I don't think it deserves a whole tier higher because of this, but VayuTurbo has a really tough time dealing with Stardust, and deep. That's like one reason why I want to keep 2 deep prison, because I don't want to get railed by soloed by Stardust. But just want to point that out there.
It's good. So B.
Yeah.
They're just generic good traps. Yeah. The Royal Ops. Actually, we'll save the Royal Ops. So we could potentially shit on Gary.
We'll save that for last.
I don't think we want to shit on Gary, actually, because the Royal Ops are good. But I just like the idea of pitting Sizzle and Gary against each other. And Sizzle doesn't play this card, and Gary does. But
so let's talk about Foolish Burial then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Foolish, I think the card is good because there's just so many targets that you can send. I personally don't play it, and I don't have a desire to play it. And it's like, even in Diva Hero, right? Like, Foolish Burial is also very good because you have a lot of targets that you can send, but it's just like, I still don't play it. I just think that you can play other cards and get the same value and some. Like, for example, Armageddonite is both a body and a Foolish Burial. Greffer is both a body and a Foolish Burial. So why would I play just a Foolish Burial, right? Mm-hmm. Future Fusion played in Diva Hero is both, it sets up your whole deck, and in 2 turns later, you're going to get a body too. plus 2 Foolish Burials at once. So it's just like, I don't think Foolish in itself is a bad card. And like, depending on the build that you're playing, like it can be more or less useful. Like if you are playing Elephant, like maybe you might want to consider Foolish Burial. But I just think in regular VayuTurbo, it's unnecessary. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, it's weird because you would expect this card to be good because you're doing so much of what it does already. But in playtesting, it's just really cheeks. For people listening, they're probably thinking like, yeah, well, it doesn't take your normal summon like Arma and Grepher do. But then you're doing a turn where you need a normal summon and Foolish Burial. And like that's pretty rare to need both. And even then, like it's so situationally good because like I don't even know what like scenario you would need like a normal summon and like if you're summoning Kaius, I don't think you need a Foolish anything. Like I really don't know like what scenario it's never been like, wow, this card could only been Foolish Burial and it's the only card that like would have saved me. Like that just does not happen.
RIP Foolish. So what do we think? C?
Yeah,
I think that's fine.
What about Mind Control?
All right, so I personally haven't seen as many VayuTurbo lists main deck this card, but I think Eric has because he views more VayuTurbo decks on a regular basis. Okay, haven't. I think the card is just a generic good card, but like I said, the problem with VayuTurbo is like it lacks tuners. And yes, you can use Plague 4 times, but like half of the time you don't want to like stack and play Mind Control because like you minus too much. Whereas once again, and I keep bringing this comparison up to Diva Hero, but just to show you how it works differently in different decks. When you summon Diva, you get a +1, right? You can go Diva, get Diva, and then go Mind Control. Whereas like if you're summoning Plague from the grave, you're stacking. Now, of course, you can go Gale Mind Control or like normal summon Plague and go Mind Control, and that's not like terrible, but I also don't think it's the best either. And you can do more with a card than just synchro with it, right? Like if it's like a hamster, you can take their hamster and like, but that is depending on the matchup and things like that. So it's just very situational, right? I think Mind Control personally is better sided. That way you know what you're taking. Well, not know, but like you have a higher chance of knowing what you're going to take. As for a main deck card, I just don't think it's it. I think Brain Control is enough. Although you can't, Brain Control face down, but still I think Brain Control is enough. But what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, you cite it for sure. It's weird because you think it'd be good because like you play Grepher Armageddonite, so you have like, way more tuners essentially. But yeah, like you said, stacking, like you only Plague stack when you need to. You don't want to stack for Plague ever unless it's like the last thing. So yeah, it's just not, Mind Control's too dead of a card.
Okay. C?
Yeah, CC's good. Sorry. I thought you meant, I heard like SEE.
Yeah, I thought you meant C, like SEE, yeah, same. I was just okay.
No.
Yes.
This card I just threw in here because I heard Eric talk about it. We don't have to talk about this card if you don't think it's worth talking about.
Dude, no, I want to talk about that card.
All right, let's talk about it.
I test this card every quarter thinking it's going to be good, and then it's ass in the main. But it's not as bad as you would think. I feel like people write this off instantly and don't even try it, but it's not Burial, so it's not, you just can't play it because you can't, like, opening it sucks. You can't just.
I feel like there's some people that might not even know what this card is really. Do you want to say what the name of the card is and what it does?
Yeah, sorry. Miracle Dig. It's a spell card. If you have 5 or more banished monsters, you can put 3 back into your graveyard. So obviously it's way more. It's just situational Burial. It's not quick play. Like Burial is infinitely better, but I always am trying to like add as many bombs into Vayu as possible, and I am thinking about siding this card right now for a few matchups because the grindy matchups where you're almost guaranteed to banish a lot, this card's really good. And I'm sure every Vayu player has looked at their banish pile and be like, wow, there's so many cards on my banish pile. Wish I had Burial right now. Oh wait, I milled it. Wow, I wish I had Miracle Dig. Bet you didn't even know what that card was. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely just F though in the main deck. Like you just can't main this card, unfortunately.
I'm putting it over Reckless.
Yeah, that was definitely better than Reckless.
Trapstun. This card's getting a lot of popularity in like.
So actually these days, people have really been playing Trapstun, and I'll say this right now. I made a video a long time ago talking about DDV, and because at that point DDV was picking up in popularity because of you know who. Anyway, but when DDV was picking up in popularity, more people were complaining and saying Edison format's dead. So I think like the title of the video I made is called like DDV the end of Edison format, right? But in that video, I say like, basically stop complaining, get good, and play cards that can counter DDV or change your deck in a way so it's not as affected by it. And one of the cards that I mentioned in that video was Trap Stun. And like, if your opponent goes DDV and you trap stun them, they're probably just going to lose.
Yeah, that's bad.
And I will not forget this. I was playing against Mark Garcia, where I got third place, and we were in our set, and I opened up DDV, but I couldn't resolve it because I had a Sirocco in my hand. And I think he goes like set a monster and like set 2 backwards or something like that and pass, right? And on my turn, I go like set Sirocco, like set DDV. And then his turn, like he's playing zombies, right? So his turn, like I go like activate DDV, and then like he goes chain Trap Stun, right? And then he goes flip his face down monster, Spirit Reaper. Oh. And that was it. Oh yeah, that was it. That was the game. That was the game. Like that was the game, right? And it was so disgusting, right? But the thing about Trap Stun is like, Trap Stun is good against other cards too, not just DDV. Against Mirror Force, Torrential, Bottomless, D-Prison. Like Trap Stun is just a really good card. And it allows you to play a little bit more reckless, right? Because your opponent's going to think like, what do you have? Do you have Road? Do you have Solemn? Like you can pretty much just play ignorantly when you have a Trap Stun set, because there aren't many spells that really stop you, like Book of Moon, but like that isn't a hard stop. It's like a soft stop. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, and like Shrink, but once again, it's more like a soft stop than like a hard stop. So like a lot of the hard stop cards in Edison are like trap cards. So you can play like really, really ignorantly when you have a Trap Stun. And I remember I was talking to Gary actually, and then he was saying like, hey, what do I think of Trap Stun in VayuTurbo? And I was like, oh, Gary, like if you're thinking about main decking that card, I think it's a really good idea. And I said, essentially, it's like Cold Wave. I was like, it's like Cold Wave, but like in a trap form, right? Of course, they serve different purposes and they do different things, but it's like Cold Wave, comparable to, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, Gary, if you want to play Trap Stun and VayuTurbo, like I support it. I think it's a really good idea. And not only just VayuTurbo, but like I said, even Black Wings. I think I saw a list recently where a player had double Trap Stun in the main. So it's just like, Trap Stun is, I think, a really, really just good card. Where would I put it in the main deck of VayuTurbo in terms of tiering? It's a little bit hard to say, because the problem with VayuTurbo is space. Yeah. Right? It just comes down to that. It's like, it's not that Trap Stun is a bad card, but it's just like, what are you going to take out to put in Trap Stun? Right? We already have like this Sizzle 41, which is great. What can you take away to put in Trap Stun? And then the problem is, it's just like I was saying earlier, even with my version of VayuTurbo, if you take out one card, it messes up the whole synergy of the deck. And same with Sizzle's version too. It's not just mine. If you take out a hamster from his version, now your Kaisers are more dead. Now your Swords more dead. Yep. So it's just like, it comes down to a matter of like, although I acknowledge Trap Stun is a really good card, do I want to put it over a card like Solemn? Do I even have the space to put it in, right? So with all that said, I'm going to once again just let Eric have the authority, but that's my 2 cents on the card.
Yeah, I also agree Trap Stun's a good card because it's Trap Stun, like it's just a good card. But like Vayu doesn't need it because like Cairo, you're not even playing MST because like, well, I guess you're putting Icarus and stuff, but like, you know, we're putting we have Raiko, Hamster, Caius, like, and the deck naturally plays around back row really well already. Like, you know, we can throw Trooper, Sirocco, Armed Wings into Torrential Mirror Forces. We don't care. So I don't think it's needed at all. Like, you could side it maybe for certain matchups that you want it for, but I just like I'm putting in Solemn and like a few other cards before this. I think. I mean, it's still a great card though. Like, I probably put it bottom of C. Like, it's better in other decks for sure.
Yeah. I agree.
Sure. And then
last but not least,
before that, I just want to quickly say, is there any card, Eric, that we've already talked about? That is there anything else? Anything you wanted to touch on for anything overall, or do you think we're good?
Like, you like change anything?
Change anything, or just like something you might have forgot to say about a card?
Oh God.
Take your time, because the power of YouTube is editing.
Yeah. You can take as long as you want.
Okay.
It'll get edited, so it doesn't matter.
I don't think there's anything worth saying. Like, I just thought about like Dust Tornado second effect is pretty good value for return, but it's not even worth talking about.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
No, I don't really think there's anything worth talking about.
All right. Well, through the power of editing, some of that got cut out. But all Sizzle said was that there's nothing really worth talking about, except for, and it's not even worth talking about, but I'm going to say it anyway, that you can play Dust Tornado and send return. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Royal Ops, I just want to say going into this, you do not play the Royal Ops in your main deck, right? And
Correct.
What I find interesting about that is, to my memory, the Royal Ops was like a staple. It was a main deck staple for Vayu. Everybody played it. It was a core identity of the deck. You know, Royal Ops are broken, and Vayu is one of the decks that can play it freely and not really worry about anything. But clearly, and you probably talked about this somewhere else before, but we can talk about it here. Clearly, you saw something about the card in your testing or whatever that you didn't like, and you completely cut it from your main deck. So what do you got to say about the ops?
All right. So let me start, and then I'm going to let Eric finish, okay? So the thing about Royal Oppression is I still think to this day, VayuTurbo is the best Royal Oppression deck in the format. However, as VayuTurbo evolved over time, we realized that it also has a high ceiling for special summoning. And cards like Chaos Sorcerer, Return from a Different Dimension, add to this. And you don't want a card in your main deck that can conflict with this, even Dark Arm, right? So those are three very important cards, and all of your desperate Armageddonite plays revolve around using Plague Spreader, which is also going to be another special summon. That said, a lot of times just like Grepher Beatdown with like his buddy Armwing and Oppression is usually enough to carry most matches. But when you're in a tight bind, you really need to special summon. Now, I wish, this is just a little gripe, right? I wish back in the day, right, when I played Macalinda, that he wasn't maining decking Royal Oppression. Because when that Oppression got flipped on me, I lost, right? I lost. But that's the thing is like, Oppression is really good into rogue decks, right? And like essentially Diva Hero, as much as I love it, it's a rogue deck. And everyone who says it's like it's a meta deck, they're like capping, all right? Like the deck is not meta, it's a rogue deck. But into the big three, Royal Oppression isn't as good as you would think. Like VayuTurbo, I already explained. For its power plays, yes, it's very good. But for the most part, it's not. And even though VayuTurbo's plays depend on special summoning, we've already discussed this point. VayuTurbo has so much removal to the point where they don't even need MST. So it's like, even if it's like blocking them temporarily, they can get rid of it. All right. So it's just not going to be the reason why you win, right? Against Black Wings, it's similar to VayuTurbo in that like for their power plays, they need to special summon, such as with Blizzard, Dark Arm, etc. But Black Wings, one, they can do like some tricks with like Black Whirlwind and Royal Oppression, where it's just like they can make it, they can structure the chains in a way where you can't oppression them. And they also have Icarus Attack. And Icarus Attack just makes it so it's just like whatever problem you have on the board, they can deal with it and then counter you with your own oppression, you know? So it's like they don't need to special summon to beat you. And also they have Honest at 3, right? Triple Colute. So it's just like with Icarus Attack and Colute, they don't really need to special summon that much. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not that good into Black Wings. It's not that good into Vayu. And for Frogs, it depends on the matchup that you're playing. Because Frogs is quite a broad category. And if you're up against like Frog Monarch, for example, Oppression is terrible. It's terrible against Frog Monarch. Because all they need is that Treeborn. And then they're just going to spam you with Monarchs. And you can't Oppression Treeborn. I mean, you can, but it's a waste of time, right? They'll just keep bringing it back. Against Hero Frogs, it can be quite good. It can be really good. Because Hero Frogs special summon a bit more than you think. And even though Hero Frogs do play a fair amount of Monarchs, most modern lists only play 4 Monarchs, right? Triple Caius, 1 Ryza. And of course, list varies from list to list, but like 4 isn't a big number out of 40. I mean, 10%, but like still. So it's just like, it's quite good against Hero Frogs, and it's good against combo Frogs, right? So if they're playing, you know, the combo version of Frog FTK, then it's quite good. So basically what I'm trying to say is like Royal Oppression shines the most into rogue decks instead of the meta decks. So I don't think that necessarily you need it to main deck. But the thing is, when you bring it in, your deck supports it perfectly. So rather than have a card that's good some of the time, it's better to have cards that are good like all the time. Pretty much you can think of Oppression the same way that Eric views. I don't want to speak for him, and he'll speak for himself, but I'll just say like you can think of it the same way like some players view Solemn Judgment, where it's like the card is cracked, but like is it good into the majority of the field? And if it's not, it's probably better side decked than main decked. So that's my views on Royal Oppression. I'm going to be silent and hear what Eric has to say.
And right before the man talks, I just want to say another thing for frogs, especially, hero frogs. And I only know this because of how often I see Frazier. But another thing, even though they only play 4 monarchs, lists vary. They unifrog. And they could unifrog and just get rid of oppression and just move on with their day.
Yeah, 3 Raigeki break. Yeah, no, I agree with everything Cairo said, especially at the very beginning when he was talking about like VayuTurbo used to main deck 2 Royal Oppression, and then the deck kept evolving, and then you don't want to flip it too early and then conflict with yourself. Gores, Plague, Return, Dad. The other, and I also 100% agree with what you're saying about like you want cards to be good 80% of the time into 80% of the matchups because you need to go 6-2 to top most of the time, most tournaments, Redison. So you're definitely not playing against 80% of decks that are good into Royal Oppression. I don't really have too much more to add, but I will say, I don't know if people have realized this, but like the big 3 was formed because of Royal Oppression. People weren't playing decks outside the big 3 because Royal Oppression just fucked those decks. Blackwing, Vayu, Hero, even Hero Frog, because like if you flip an Oppression too early and they have Treeborn Graveyard, you could literally get soloed by Caius. Like Caius plus Oppression is legit a winning, like it can literally get you there.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, people don't realize that. Obviously, like, as a fixed format, Edison is cyclical, and maybe Oppression comes back in the meta because now GBs are big, Lysorn, Twilight, etc. But I think for now, it's still not to the point where you can main deck Oppression. And most of the decks that DDV hits is actually good. Oppression is also good against, so there's overlap there. So there's just no need to main it right now. Maybe in the future you could totally main it and it'd totally be fine. Even now you can main one. Oh, there's one thing I want to say. Opening Oppression forces you to play around it because you don't want to go like Greffer like you don't want to make one little push and then set Oppression. Like you should have just made the full push. Because if you have Dad in hand, you're not gonna summon Dad or not summon Dad and then set Oppression. Like Oppression forces you to like blow your load and set Oppression and hope your opponent doesn't have it. And I don't like playing like that. I'd rather just hold my Dad, make you out like this board, and then drop Dad and make Dad get value, for example. So yeah, I just don't like the way Oppression plays.
I really like that input. And the thing that you said, like the big 3 was almost created or born out of a necessity, out of Oppression. Because if you think about it, Edison format at one point in time, it was believed the best deck was Diva Hero. And I've heard, you just got to listen to Cairo for 10 seconds to know that he fucking hates Oppression. And playing Diva Hero into Oppression is miserable. It fucking ruins that deck. So if you think about Diva Hero being the best deck in the format, and then Oppression becoming used a lot with Vayu gaining popularity, and then Oppression warping the way the format kind of evolved from there, just with how strong that card is, and then the deck that made Oppression popular doesn't even play Oppression anymore because like it's not worth playing Oppression into the top 3 decks, so they're already built in a way to play around Oppression. So with all of that said, where do you think we would tier it for right now?
So I actually do think that Oppression is super mainable. And like, I think just like Eric said, it's a cycle. Edison format's like a cycle. And now we're at a point where GBs are on the rise. And Royal Oppression is very good into GBs. It's very, very good. He explained everything perfectly. I don't think that Oppression's at the point where you can main 2. But if someone were to go to a tournament and they were to main 1 Oppression, I don't think that's a bad call. I don't think that's a bad call at all. And like oppression is just like when you activate it, it's +1 already. It's already a +1. And it's just prevents your opponent from playing the game, and it prevents your opponent from coming back if they don't have an immediate out to it. And like by the time they draw the out, the game could just be over. So I think the card is very, very good. Minimum A tier for me. But once again, the person
I like almost want to put it in S. Like
yeah, see, I wouldn't argue. That's why I said minimum A. Like I wouldn't argue S either. Like that card is the reason why.
Yeah, I want to. It's A or S. I don't know the card. I mean, you hate that card. I couldn't like. I'd be hard pressed to. It's minimum. Yeah, like Cairo said, minimum A. I really don't know. Flip a coin. I can't decide.
Let's say A, and then if you guys want to argue me up to S, basically what I'm thinking is, in S tier right now, unless I'm wrong, no matter what version of Vayu you're playing, you're probably playing these cards.
Yes.
You know, whereas like right now the ops are not always played. So I think the fact that like in S tier, like are we saying we're playing the Royal Ops as often as we're going to play Dad? So I think that's a good enough reason to say it's A.
The thing is, and like, of course, this tier list is based on main deck. So main deck, yes, not every VayuTurbo is going to play Royal Oppression. But like if you include like the side deck as well, every VayuTurbo deck, VayuTurbo deck is going to have at least one, if not both, copies of Royal Oppression. So it's just like, that's fair. I mean, but at the same time, this tier list is about main deck cards, right? Because if it was about side deck cards and like maybe cards such as Eradicator would be higher, right? So,
wait, are tiers by usage rates?
What'd you say?
Are tiers usage rates? Do we have to put Vayu, Necro, Caius, Chaos, Sword Camps, like all those cards up into S tier? How are you doing this?
No. It's not usage.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
It's whatever you as the authority on the deck thinks it should be. And I was just providing a counter argument as to why it's maybe A. But if you get the final say, I don't get. I'm wearing a fucking Eagles hoodie, and I don't know what the
no.
I don't get the final say on whether or not that card goes an A. That is not up to me. That is up to you.
No, I like an A. I think way less people are maining it now. Before it used to be like most people main it. Now like no one's maining it.
Yeah. All right. There we have it. And we have our final list. Anything to say?
Dude, this deck is broken. all these cards are just so crazy. Like you can't like make another deck besides maybe like VayuHero is actually one of the few decks that can play a lot of these broken cards too. But there's very few decks that you can be like, wow, all these cards are in S or A.
The entirety of this deck is S and A. The only cards that are not blatantly in S and A are Raikou, Deep Prison, and Bottomless that are consistently in the deck. After Raikou, Deep Prison, Bottomless, the rest of these cards are not popular Vayu cards. They appear in some list of Vayu, but they're not like the most popular.
It's interesting that Eric just made the comparison to VayuHero, because if you look at the S rank, with the exception of Burial, all those cards are played in VayuHero, and you can argue with the exception of Card Trooper too, but there was a list that played Card Trooper in the main, right? So it's just like, with the exception of Card Trooper and Burial, all those other cards are played in Gale, right? Are played in VayuHero.
Dude, VayuHero is one of the decks I wanted to play because I was just looking at all the decks. I'm like, what deck can fit in the most busted cards? I'm like, all right, VayuTurbo, VayuHero, and Zombies can play like all these broken ass 1-ofs. But yeah, unfortunately, they just get slowed by Oppression.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, if Royal Oppression was at 1 or banned, Edison would be a completely different format. You know, and I'll say this. This is the last thing I'll say about VayuHero, because we're here to talk about Vayu. I saw this in a video by Sunny, right? And these days, Sunny, he's playing a lot of VayuHero, so he has a lot of opinions on the deck, which is great. I'm happy to see more people play the deck. And he's advocating for double Spine Gilman in the main, which I'm telling you now is just wrong. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like it's actually just wrong, and I can list 1,000 reasons why it's wrong. But anyway, in his video, he said, and I agree with, the earlier versions of Diva Hero, they were main decking like multiple copies of Snowman Eater. So because they were maining multiple copies of Snowman Eater, they actually didn't lose to Royal Oppression as bad. And Vanity's Fiend and False Dyna, because they can just set Snowman Eater and just sit on that, right? Mm-hmm. But when I took over Diva Hero, because Silchus Ruin was the one who played those builds, but when I took over Diva Hero, I changed it, because even though, like, yes, those cards are good into like False Dyna and Vanity's Oppression, the deck is too slow with those cards. And like, you needed the speed that I added to the deck to keep up with the meta, right? So I mean, that's what makes Yu-Gi-Oh fun, is like deck building and adding like your own choices and like preparations for the meta. But it's really interesting to see how decks such as Diva Hero or VayuTurbo in this case, right, bringing it back to VayuTurbo, have evolved over time.
Yeah, I mean, this deck's broken. It's very top heavy. All these cards are played multiples if you can play them in the deck. This is a broken ass deck. And
yeah, the only card I wish was Hyros Mind Control. That's like the last broken card in Edison format that's not in VayuTurbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're at the end of the video. This is a long video. This is around 2.5 hours. After editing, it might be a bit shorter, but not by much. So we'll wrap up. But Sizzle, you'll get the final say in this. Any closing words, shout outs, anything you want to say? The floor is yours.
No, I don't really have anything to say. I guess one thing I want to like say about VayuTurbo is, guys, I've been playing the Sizzle 41 since the first debut was in Niagara 2024. That's October 2024, and I was playing it like a month or two before that before it debuted. And I've been trying to change the list. Like I seriously have been trying. I've been really trying. Like I legit, like I'm always like, how do I make this deck better? How do I make this deck better? And I just can't. So I've been like, that's why I look at all the value lists for inspo, and I'm just like, there's gotta be something. But like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm really not, because I want the deck to be even better. I need to get carried harder. But I just can't find anything besides like, maybe one hamster for something obscure. But like, I don't know. If I, like Cairo said earlier, if I change hamster, I have to take out chaos or but yeah, I can't change anything. It's too hard. So I really want people to try to, basically all I'm trying to say is I want people to mess with the deck more, because like I was just one dude working on this by myself, and somehow I just stumbled across a magic formula, and I really want the deck to be better. So, like this tier list is just like a guideline. Maybe Cairo's right. Maybe Lila is fucking broken, or maybe like Shura is fucking broken. Like, I wish people just tried more stuff, but unfortunately everyone's just playing Sizzle 41, and that makes me feel bad, because now I have no creative freedom. So I just want people to try more shit.
I do appreciate you saying, I want the deck to be better because I want to get carried harder.
Dude, deck's broken. Like, I only know how to play this deck.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Sizzle,
for
coming on the show.
Words, yeah, you took it right out of my mouth, Kenny. I just wanted to thank you. I mean, like, it's been a long video, and we know you're a really busy guy, and you're a celebrity in Edison format. So thank you so much for like taking your time to come on the Kenny and Cairo show. It really, really, really means a lot to us. And also, you dropped a lot of wisdom about VayuTurbo in this video. So for all of you guys who are at home listening, watch this video multiple times. Send it to your friends. Hit that like and subscribe. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. And of course.
And I was gonna say, and lastly, not only to us, but also to Sackface, because he's the one who made this video possible. I mean, without him, you would just have two goons, right? Just
two goons
being funny.
Yeah, that's right. A goon and a gooner.
It was right, but it's nice to have the expert opinion on the matter, and thank you so much. It really means a lot.
No, it was great. This was fun as hell. I didn't even realize it was 2.5 hours. Holy crap, that's crazy.
Yeah, we were rolling. Thank you, everybody. Peace out.